Welcome to the exciting world of the movies.
Hello, happy Hanukkah, and welcome to the movie graveyard. We are rolling right along through the festive holiday season, and I'm very pleased to say I got some awesome guests with me today to celebrate everything. Once again, we got the man, the myth, the legend. We got Zach from Mac and Zach Save the World.
What it is?
Stone Cold Zach Austin.
Oh yes, fucking our boy. You ever see that video of Stone Cold ET on YouTube? It's amazing.
I have. It's pretty out of control. Yeah.
Fucking amazing. I actually learned how to do the impression from Stone Cold ET more than Stone Cold himself.
Have you ever seen Filthy Frank's version of E.T. Part 2? He made a sequel to the beloved classic film.
I haven't.
It's pretty donk. The alien dummy doesn't exactly look like E.T., but you know it's still a worthy successor to the Steven Spielberg film.
Oh yes.
And also joining us, that's right, a rare occasion for the graveyard. We got a third grave digger tonight. We got a brand new pristine shovel, all picked out for him. He's making his debut, but you know we know this guy very well. He's been around for years and years, haunting the podcast, atmosphere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our good friend from the Cinema Enema podcast, amongst various others, Aaron. Aaron, what's going on?
Not too much. Yeah, BTM show is probably the one that's been around for like a decade, so that's probably the main one. And Zach and I are both part of the Revival House Network. So, well, Zach's on the BTM too. So, I mean, there's too many shows. I mean, I guess you just have to pick whatever you want.
It's fucking confusing. Like the Revival House Network, that just it's umbrella and accommodates everything. And then so it's like then there's a bunch of podcasts in there.
Exactly. Yeah. I just always, when I introduce one of you guys, I just introduce, because there's so many, I just, introduce my personal favorite that you're on, so.
Dog.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, let me just start off by saying that E.T.'s overrated as fuck. I don't like it.
Damn,
never
harsh.
I rewatched it a couple months ago just to see if, I never watched it when I was little. I'm like, let me see. I always like to recalibrate and, see if I see it differently. And I just think it's like a 6, maybe a 5 or 6. It's all right.
I saw that movie for the first time when they put it through the theaters and they changed all the guns to walkie-talkies. I saw it for the theater and I was like, I like this movie. And it was cool because I could leave and immediately go rent it. But then Family Video didn't have it and I was like, fuck Family Video. But you know what's funny? It's like back in the day, back in the 70s or whatever, when that movie originally came out, they had a toy where it was like a long finger and when you touch something, it lights up. And if you look at that toy up, it looks like a cock. And I hear that people are actually women are putting it up their vagina, and when there's a spot, they go deep enough and they can open their mouths and you can see the light shining through. I hear.
Wow, I bet that information you read is 100% medically accurate.
It is.
I actually owned one of those fingers, and the trick of it was it wasn't easy to light up. Like what you're saying, because it's supposed to imitate the scene of the movie where you put it on the tip of your finger. And I was always be trying to push the inside with my finger to get it light up. It's really just a useless toy because you got to push it against the wall or wherever. Even if you just did it on your friend's fingertip, it wouldn't light up. You had to press it so hard. So if that's true, what you're saying, those women are really jamming that in hard.
I mean,
exactly.
if you guys had to get ass finger fucked by either E.T.'s bulbous finger or one of the Ninja Turtles, big fat ass arm fingers, which one? Oh, the bulbous, yeah.
I don't know, because one time, oh man, we're going back probably close to 15 years. I was super sick, and the doctor couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So he did a prostate exam, and that was a small Asian man's finger.
That was when you were a kid? Did he milk it and make you
He said
come?
15 years ago. He was...
no, I was in my late 20s, and
I was going to say, imagine if you're a kid and they milk your prostate that young, you'll always have to have that whenever you come.
Would anything happen, though, if you're young, if you didn't have no cum in your balls?
Yeah. I mean, cum in your balls. That should be the name of Zach's autobiography. Cum in my balls.
I mean, I guess I'm going to say E.T.'s finger because, it's long, but long isn't really what you want to worry about. It's the girth or whatever.
And just like I imagine a dick, once you get past that bulbous tip, it's probably just slides in. That's the worst of it, right?
No, not really, because doesn't your dick usually, at least most human dicks or whatever, don't they get fatter the longer you get closer to the base or whatever?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
guess it just depends.
I mean,
man.
I don't really know anybody's finger. Like, I'm looking at my fingers right now. Like, the bottom part is close to the same thickness as the top.
You frequent the porn hubs, man. You see a lot of different dicks of all shapes and sizes. I've seen the ones that look like the big fat palm trees, where it's like at the base they're real fat and then they get like beady at the tip. I've seen the ones that are like more proportionate and just like one consistent. I mean, I fall in that category. TMI. No, I'm just kidding. All right. We're gonna talk about this movie. We're gonna talk about ET and dicks.
Well, it's a good thing this is a family show, and this episode.
Is it? It's not.
Well, no, not the show, but I'm saying, like, you know how you get those flybuyers that they gravitate. Like I would have no problem with this conversation being on our Pieces episode, but like we're doing Jingle All the Way, and like immediately we got three guys theorizing which would you rather have up your ass, and that's what I'm saying. Like just a regular doctor's finger was so hard to like it was to the point where like the instruction for me was to like lay on the table sideways and like curl up in a ball like a baby and like hold my knees up. So like I like dude just like, I mean, I don't think you would shit right or ever walk straight if the Ninja Turtle put his finger up your butt.
Can you imagine if you did like have a flybyer and they jumped on board on your last show where it was Little Monsters, and it's like you got two of these family movies in a row and like, oh, it's a great show. Oh yeah. Like all for kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, to be fair, if anybody's listening to this and being offended, I don't know if this matters or if this translates to all platforms, but the way I have the show set up is every episode, no matter what's on it, how clean, how dirty, they're all marked explicit, so you have been warned. Viewer discretion advised.
What you got to do these days.
I know. So we're going to get this movie rolling. We have it paused on the 1 second mark. By the way, if you get this movie on Blu-ray, it is going to ask you whether you want to watch the theatrical version or the extended version. They're not radically different, but they are different from each other. So this being a nostalgia-based podcast, I'm going to go with the version that everybody saw in the theater as a kid and probably had on the VHS. We will be watching the theatrical version. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. We have it paused at the 1 second mark. And when you hear me say go, everybody out there in podcast land, hit play on your remote. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, go.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun.
Can I make an observation? This is the way I feel about this movie. I feel like now that it's technically a retro title, and what is it, 94? Is that right?
I think it's 96.
96? Okay, whatever. Give or take 25 years. Now it seems chic and vogue to love this movie, but like when it came out, I always loved it. But around when it came out, or maybe even the first 10 years, it seems like people just shit on this movie in droves, right?
1492 will commence again. Sorry.
I feel like now the tides have turned on it, but like I always thought it was a good movie. I don't think it's supposed to be some high bar like Oscar winning shit. It's clearly, for kids.
Exactly. I remember I saw this movie for the first time. I didn't get to see it in the theater. And like Mac's mom, my aunt, she was working at a video store, so she got to get movies before they kind of came out. But they came in the, we got them already, but like you get to rent it before the Tuesday comes out. And she watched it and they gave it to my mom. And we watched it, the whole family. I had a good ass time, baby.
It's a great family movie because it's going to appeal to kids. And like I said, adults should, if they have any taste, they're going to find this funny too. I mean, I think hits it all.
I think there's plenty of funny shit in this movie. Yeah, fucking Sinbad, he's funny in it.
Arnold's funny, man. His hamminess, his hammy act, everything works so well for it.
The Turbomans, they're all gone.
Yeah, I gotta say, me being a bit older than you guys, so this movie rolled out, I was about 19 years old, and I was too cool for school for this one, I'll be honest. I was just too old, and especially there was no way I was going to go watch some stupid-ass kids movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I had already lived through Kindergarten Cop, so, like, it's one of those...
Oh, don't dog it. I love Kindergarten Cop. I think it's great.
But, so, like, I was not about this at all. I probably didn't see this for, like, a good 20 years. I want to say it was, like, 5 or 6 years ago, just around the holiday time. Like, it was on, I can't remember, either cable or Netflix, something. And I was like, I'm actually going to watch this. I'm going to sit down and watch this. And I watched it, and I got to say, in all honesty, I probably wouldn't have liked it if I would have went to see it in the theater back in the day. But, being an older person and also the twilight of Arnold's film career coming and going, like, and me just being an Arnold fan in general, and just also being an older person who's now a big softie as compared to like when I was 19, 20, I would say all the way up until probably my early to mid 30s, like I wouldn't watch a movie unless it was rated R. Like I just, there was only X amount of hours in a day, week, month, however you want to put it, and like I had no like appetite for family friendly films because I still don't have kids, but I didn't have kids all these years, so it's like I didn't have any little brothers or sisters, so like there just was no need for me to ever watch these movies. And yeah, I watched it and really liked it, and I can see why people would say it's a shitty movie in the context of 1996 or whenever it came out, because it's like people are a little bit smarter, more savvy about what films are trying to go for now than they were then. And when I watch this, to me, this movie's trying to, like, it's not just a kid's movie. It's really trying to, like, be a live action, almost Warner Brothers cartoon, in my opinion.
Yeah. See, I remember the first time I watched it thinking like, there is kind of a bit of a contrast at the end, like where most of the movie seems like it's at least a little bit rooted in reality, but then at the end he's got the jetpack and he's flying around and shit. And like I remember that was like as a kid I was like, oh yeah, this is way different than the rest of the movie, but I still really liked it. Yeah.
Couple of points. Rita Wilson, I'd shoot a rope on her face. Also, the supporting cast is amazing. Martin Mull, Robert Conrad, Sinbad, of course. I mean, he's not even support. Phil Hartman, for fuck's sake, dude, he's brilliant. Even though he never got a chance to really branch out of being Phil Hartman and everything he did, he was just Phil Hartman from SNL. He pretty much was the same shticky guy, but it never wore out its welcome. Probably didn't have enough time for it to wear out, but I love him in this. And I guess save for Jake Lloyd, who obviously went on to be in a Star Wars movie, we all know. But I don't know. I think you're speaking about the twilight of Arnold's career. Speaking of that, I think maybe I asked myself, would I like it as much if Arnold wasn't the lead? Because do I like it as much just because it's Arnold? And I was such a huge Arnold fan, and I like Jingle. You could say the same thing about Kindergarten Cop. Like, would I have liked Kindergarten Cop if it was Hulk Hogan in that fucking movie? I don't know. Maybe not. But everybody just works, and I think this is the last great Arnold Schwarzenegger movie made before his career really took a dip. And I'd say this is that point where it's like a dividing line, where you probably have half people saying this is where it started or half people saying this is where it ended, because I think after this he had a racer and shit like that, and that's like that starts going downhill for me. I don't care for a racer and shit like that. I could be wrong, but this might have been like the same year Eraser came out. I don't know, maybe Eraser was 98. Maybe that's why. For some reason, I always thought this movie was 97, but I'm pretty sure when I looked at it was 96. Speaking of Rita Wilson, you said you would shoot a rope on her face. If I could, I would probably punch her in the face, because this is what this little jerk came out and said this past week or so. Rita Wilson says the 1996 holiday comedy Jingle All the Way haunts her because her character Liz is just a little too stupid to realize Turbo Man, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, is her husband. Listen to this Suspend
bullshit.
your disbelief like we all had to.
Let's see. He has an accent. He looks exactly like him. He's wearing a half mask, but my character doesn't know. It's so yeah. So she's totally dissed the movie.
She's treating it like it's real life logic.
It's called acting, and she had to act like, what, dude? Give me a break.
But,
I mean, what?
But meanwhile, she didn't have a problem with her being totally oblivious and fucking Phil Hartman having his hand halfway up her skirt the entire fucking movie.
Thousand Island dressing.
And to be fair, Arnold's in the thing, and we know it's Arnold because we're watching the movie and there's nonstop close-ups. But where she's standing in the crowd, she's pretty far away, and then he flies all around and shit.
Well, she was up close to him, and he's like, "Well," and she still didn't know, like right before he took off his helmet. I don't know.
But that's like the second before, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean, fucking, you know what I was thinking? Like, how could he not recognize his fucking dad's gap tooth smile? Like, fucking, that as soon as you see it, like, it's always like a jar. Like, whenever you see somebody, like someone gets older and they have to get like dentures or something, you immediately notice something's off. Even if you don't notice it's their teeth, you're like, something's fucking off. Like, I remember whenever, what's his name from one of these kids right here. I don't know if it's in this scene, but one of the kids, Billy, is the fucking little shit that played Junior on the shitty fucking Child's Play
3. Or no, Problem Child.
Problem Child 3. But yeah,
He was
what
like a
was,
replacement actor for Junior or something.
Yeah, and the third one or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that one was like made for TV, right?
Junior in Love.
something.
Yeah. There's something
USA
weird about
Network
it
or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about that because remember, fucking Face Off. They switch their faces. It's like, how do they? How does his wife not know he's got a different body type? But the biggest fucking thing is like most people identify like when people die. It's like, how do you identify someone with their dental records? She would have known right away. Something's off.
Well, in his square fucking jaw, he looks like a Rock'em Sock'em
Hey,
robot.
he's got a Chad fucking jaw.
Yeah, he's like the original Chad jawline to the point. I don't even know if you guys even know this, but did you know Arnold had his jaw broken to like try to become more handsomer or whatever? Like
I know he had the mole removed, but I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he had his jaw supposedly broken, reset. Because like if you look at him like from like Conan to like later on, he does look like a little bit different.
Never noticed that.
This movie does have something in common with Conan. He punches a fucking animal in the face in both movies.
Yeah,
There you go.
A return to
that movie?
form, if you will.
Yeah, that part's hilarious. I love it. You started it.
so
This movie, it's so many quotes, by the way. It's like nonstop quotes.
I know. Like, I mean, shit lives forever. And, like, yeah, like, this totally, to me, this is, like, the people's champ type of movie. Because, like, yeah, it came out, it made money, it did okay. But it's not, like, the type of movie that, like, 5 years after it came out, everybody was nuts about it. It's really, like, 20 years later, everybody likes it. And, like, to me, that's, like, the true test of time. Like, that determines what's a real classic and what's not. I mean, can you guys name any other fucking Rita Wilson movies? I mean, pretty much after a certain point in her
Joe
career.
the Volcano? Was she in one of those the movie she met Tom Hanks on? Volunteers or something?
I think it's Volunteers, yeah.
Volunteers, yeah.
Yeah, and like that's really it. And I want to say she had a cameo maybe in The Thing You Do, which she directed, but yeah, like she really didn't get. I mean, she worked compared to like an out of work actress, but like nobody ever went to see a movie to see fucking Rita Wilson.
How dare she criticize? Yeah, probably her biggest movie. It's kind of like I read it. I saw Daniel Baldwin. Daniel Baldwin, mind you, he was on some local news fucking show getting interviewed, and they were introducing him as like Daniel Baldwin, star of this, and they said Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man. He played like the lead grunt in Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man, and he had like one line: "They were dilettantes, sir." That was it. That's all he said. Other than that, he was silent. And he kind of, after her introduction, he's like, "Leave that one out. I consider that to be a B film." I'm like, Daniel Baldwin, what are your A films?
Yeah,
quit biting the hand, dude.
He's so good because that was the dude that was later in Vampires, right?
Vampires, yeah, and he was extra fat in that movie.
Yeah, his career's going so good. He films sometimes he films movies in my hometown, movies that I know for a fact have a budget of $30,000. So whatever his cut of that $30,000 is, I don't think he can be talking shit about Harley Davidson.
What's funny is when actors say that, or when Rita Wilson says this, or when Daniel Baldwin says that, it insults everybody that actually likes because I like Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man. I get it. It's such a fun buddy. It's a buddy movie. It's very by the book, but it's like I like it. It's such fucking like junk food.
He probably said it as a more like not asshole way of saying what you said. Like, oh, I have one line in it, but that would sound too mean. So he tried to make a joke out of it.
He's probably like, no, he was definitely like a snobby comment, kind of like, well, that movie bombed, so it's not good. It's not an A film. Like, yeah, it tanked, but I think I looked that up one time out of morbid curiosity, and I think it opened up against like the worst competition you could have, and it just got fucking. And the fact that it was Don Johnson in 1990 or whatever, like he kind of went through a period after Miami Vice there where he probably wasn't marketable. But Mickey Rourke was a stud, dude, back then.
Well, Mickey Rourke was on the downside at that point too, though. Yeah, I kind of remember that. But like, yeah, like maybe I'm wrong. If anybody looks up the release date, I could be wrong. But I swear, Harley Davidson Marlboro, I kind of remember going to see that in like late summer, and like. There's always that period of every summer, like it's hard to predict when it is. It always happens some point in August, either the first week, second week, third week of August. You never quite know when, but it's just like every year is different. But the summer movie season just dies all of a sudden, it seems like, and just nobody wants to see anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we're seeing right now is possibly Jake Lloyd's worst acting in cinematic history.
I feel bad for the kid. He took a beating for a couple of movies, and it's just whatever. It's not his fault, but yeah, I don't know. I let it slide for this movie because he's honestly he's arguably out acting his co-star there. You know what I mean?
Well, like just talk about the Jake Lloyd thing real quick. Like, I'm a Star Wars fan. I wouldn't say he's like a child prodigy as an actor or whatever. Like, I think there's moments in Star Wars where he's good and moments where he's not the best or whatever. But I gotta say, rewatching this one again, for this movie being made a couple years before Star Wars was, like, I actually think he was, like, pretty okay for how young he was.
Yeah, he's not.
I think
that was the worst delivered line. Like when he's going through the.
He's consistent with the rest of the acting in this movie, and it all fits like what they're going for. Everybody's sort of Amy and up to 11 on this movie.
Let me point out that like he was literally just talking to his son about like he's basically smoothing it over after he missed his like karate tournament because like he was working late, and so he shows up. He's like, you know what? I'm really sorry. How can I make it up for you? He basically twists his arm into telling him like, oh yeah, the Turbo Man doll. So he's like, he's just in the room with his wife now, telling her like what just happened. Like we were talking about the Turbo Man, and she's like, oh yeah, you got the doll though, right? And he's like, huh?
Doll.
Yeah,
he's like,
It's like he's that disconnected from what he was talking to his own kid about. Like if this movie didn't happen, it's just like a matter of time before he let that fucking kid down again.
Yeah. Well, I do like the beginning of the movie where he's like being a big Chad in the office.
Exactly.
I want to piggyback on what you said earlier, Zach. You're totally right. If every scene is super punchy, like it really is snappy, right? Everything's going by real fast.
The extended cut's a little different. Like I said, like a real quick, I'll repeat that like it doesn't have the namesake. In this version, they have that Jingle Bells song coming up, and then in the extended cut, it's like a slower, somber song, and the whole scene has a different tone.
Well, it's very possible it wasn't called Jingle All the Way at every stage of the movie, and I think this movie it started this trend of these shitty Christmas movies with like lyrics from Christmas songs plucked out of the like what there's Deck the Halls, there's so many of them. I don't know, I can't even think
I'll
of them
be home for Christmas with Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, that one.
Christmas with the Cranks.
Well, that's not a song. Christmas the
Is it?
I've heard that song in a couple pornos.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Christmas of the Cranks is man, it's a shitty movie, but I can watch it if that makes sense. I don't know. I think
it's a good cast in a bad movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just like Tim Allen, and I know he's kind of easy to shit on, but I like Tim Allen.
I like Tim Allen too.
Yeah, he's too likable, man.
He's easy to shit on. Does he make a good toilet? Like, can you sit on him easily?
Yeah.
Even though in Christmas of the Cranks, when they had that like Botox scene, it was giving me like bad nightmares from what's it called, Santa Claus 3 vibes, when he had that robot where it's like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, I've only seen pieces of both the sequels, and they look terrible. But like, here's a fun fact: producer Chris Columbus wanted Joe Pesci to play Myron, fucking Sinbad's character, but he was deemed too short at 5'3" next to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was 6'2". This was despite the fact that Schwarzenegger had previously appeared in 2 films alongside even shorter Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that's lame. I think that makes it even funnier when you have like the big guy, small guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Sinbad, is that not an off the wall? I mean, I get it. This is peak Sinbad. I bet you Sinbad wishes he can go back to circa 1994 to 1996. I think he's the weirdest person to ever transition into movies. I mean, he was a comedian, sure, but he's like, well, a different world. Hey, let's make this guy a leading man. And he had this string of Hollywood Pictures, Disney movies for like 3 or 4 years. And I just think it's weird that he's the guy that got plucked to be in an Arnold movie, but I don't know. He works so well.
Yeah, I like the one where Sinbad played the Secret Service agent.
First Kid.
Yeah, First Kid.
Yeah.
And of course, fucking House Guest.
First Kid really ran for president, right, this year?
Oh yeah.
the first kid did.
He also did House Guest, which has some great holiday songs at the end of the movie, where he said, "Load the grill with fatty meat, put it on a bun, eat." Amazing.
That's his best movie. I love it. And Hollywood Pictures, man, I don't know if they still make movies, to be honest with you, but like they were on a roll, man. They made the best Pauly Shore movie. Son-in-Law is legit a good movie. Like, put aside your washed up Pauly Shores and your relics of the early 90s. Like, that's a movie it stands the test of time. Like, I think that's a movie they should still run in syndication. Everybody should still like it. And then I think House Guest is a great movie too. Mario Brothers was Hollywood Pictures. That's not a good movie.
Oh, that's a great
film. Hollywood Pictures is interesting. In their catalog is not easy to get because there was a time where Disney could not exist making only family friendly shit, so they created Touchstone, they created Hollywood Pictures, and Hollywood Pictures like even made like cool R-rated shit like Playing God and Deep Rising or whatever. But when Disney kind of got back on top in the early 2000s, thanks to all the Pixar money, they were like, we don't need to compete with adult shit anymore because now we own Miramax and they'll make all the adult shit. So yeah, sadly Hollywood just like Pictures just really went away quick, and it sucks because I thought they made some good kind of mid-budget multiplex popcorn type films.
And I thought they'd abandoned Touchstone for a while too, but then through the Touchstone moniker, they were doing Who Framed Roger Rabbit was part of that, and something that was a little bit edgier, obviously, but still it could appeal to. And then Nightmare Before Christmas, when that came out, obviously they're like, this is too gothic, a little too dark. We can't do it Disney. Let's do Touchstone. But then somewhere along the way, man, they started reprinting Nightmare Before Christmas as a Walt Disney classic. Right now, It's Disney. And now he's all over the Disney stores, and they've sort of gayified it a bit. You know what I mean? And at some point, they're like, you know what? No, this is – yeah, I thought they did. But I think I swore I saw something in the last couple of years where it was Touchstone. Like, where the fuck has Touchstone been?
Yeah. For years, the only place Touchstone was you would see it sometimes at the end of some of their TV stuff, Touchstone distribution through TV. But, I think it's maybe until recently that name's been popping up a little bit, too.
Here it is. Yeah. Here's the greatest line.
They're all gone. Yeah.
The Turbo Man. Here's a great. I can never remember exactly chronology. Chris Parnell here playing like a total goober. I can't remember if this was before or after he got on SNL. If it was before,
I think he was one of those. What do they call them?
Improv
featured guys. Where he wasn't on the official cast, but he was featured.
And then the other coworker guy, this kind of nerdy guy,
looks like Pee Wee Herman or something.
Yeah, it looks like Pee Wee Herman. That I remember that dude is like being like one of those guys who he would do these type of roles in movies, just a quick nerd or something. Yeah. But he would mostly be in commercials, just like TV commercials for products. For
sure, and he looks like a cross between Pee Wee Herman and Steve from Blue's Clues.
Yeah, I can see.
That's what he looks like to me. Hey, you know what's funny? This Turbo Man, not Booster, but it's kind of like art or life imitating art because. Recently, I've been unloading a lot of toys on eBay, and because I'm a toy collector, and that whole scene, it's always been a fun hobby to me, and that whole scene's really dried up in the last handful of years because smartphones have been out for a while, and then of course eBay, that started ruining it for people. Just finding stuff in the wild and finding good deals and going to swap meets. Now everybody just wants to put shit online and compare. What really hurt it in the last few years is now we have much, much older people becoming savvy to iPhones and apps now. So now it's like you really can't find stuff in the wild anymore. So I haven't really collected anything that wasn't newer or NECA that actually cost money. Nothing retro in a long time. So I have boxes and boxes of toys that just kind of sit in storage. And I have a Turbo Man, right? Because when the movie came out, they released a very, very, very limited line.
28,000, I think.
Yeah, they released 22,000.
22,000.
They released a limited line of Turbo Mans, and they look just like this in the movie, in the box.
Tiger Electronics put it out.
Yeah, it looked just like that booster box with the Turbo Mans, the exact same. Those things go for a mint. I mean, they're fetching $800. And
I'd like to have one.
Well, you want mine? $800. I got it on eBay right now.
Jeez. What's your opening or lowest that you'll take for it on your?
So
eBay
I don't have a reserve on it just because they charge a fee now to do that. And I'm confident it'll fetch anywhere from 6 to 8. But right now, I mean, I got 5 days left and it's already up to 400.
Wow.
So and
pretty cool.
It's one of those things where it's got 30 people watching it and it's all going to pile on at the end. I mean, I know how the crowd works. And I also have a Home Alone 2 Deluxe Talk Boy sealed in the box too because the Turbo Man is sealed in the box. It has to be. That's where all the values.
When people have toys and they keep it in the box, is it really because they're trying to keep it mint, or is the toy just autoerotic asphyxiating itself?
I don't know. I guess I'd feel bad for a Turbo Man if it was like Toy Story and they were alive in there. But no, the Talk Boy, which is also sealed in the box. You know how much that motherfucker is going for?
Probably $300.
Nope, 1,000, 1,200.
Really?
Yep, so mine's on there right now too. And this is all shit that's selling in the last month. So I keep track of it's like any other it's like anything else where the market comes and goes, it dips, ebbs and flows. Mm-hmm. And right now it seems to be really peaking because just 2 years ago, Turbo Man sealed in the box were going for about 200. Now they've just fucking jumped. I don't know what it is, but it's the market dictating it. But that's what they're selling for. Same thing with the Talk Boys have almost tripled. And like, so I love the Talk Boy. I do have sentimental value with it because that was my favorite toy growing up. I used to make like fake radio serials on it and radio shows on my Talk Boy. But I don't want to sell anything that's sentimental, but unless it hits my price, and $1,000, $1,200, that's my price. I don't need the Talk Boy in the box. That's fine.
I used to get actually prank phone calls from a Talk Boy, and like I knew who it was because I knew the idiot who did it.
I'm home early.
But it was a beta who couldn't do real prank phone calls, so like he would pre-record and use the Talk Boy to slow down the voice. And I remember my mom got all worried because we had this voicemail. And it was like, hey, I seen you been talking to my girlfriend. Blah, blah, blah. My mom was like all worried. And I was just like, yeah, I know who this is. I'm not really.
It was like soundboards before soundboards. Yeah, doing that. You remember the commercial in the holidays for it was the older sister and she had a boy over when the parents weren't home, right? And they were snuggling on the couch eating popcorn, getting too close. And the little brother was hiding behind the couch and he used the slow effect. And he's like, hi, kids, I'm home early. And he played it behind him. Hi, kids, I'm home early. Like, it was never that convincing. Or, like, especially in the movie Home Alone 2. Like, the fact they really sold you way too much on the quality of that thing, right? Like, he had Uncle Frank singing in the shower, right? When Tim Curry walked into the shower and he had the Bozo doll in there. And it sounded like there's no way that sounded – no way you could hear that piece of shit through a shower and everything, but it sounded like real life, like he was right there. So they took some liberties, but it's a great fucking toy.
Outright lied about the fucking product, really.
It did.
The whole movie was a commercial for the fucking Talk Boy, and they lied about it.
It really was. Well, you know what? I don't know if because they released a line of the Talk Boy that had no affiliation with Home Alone, just like the Tiger Talk Boy or whatever, and it was kind of in a shittier like plastic. You remember those like shitty handhelds, those Tiger handheld electronics? They used to sell one like that, and then they have like the Home Alone 2 line, which came in a fancier box, like the one I have, and it's got Kevin all over it, and it's totally market material. So I don't know which one came first, but they did have two separate. Well, like one was deluxe and one wasn't, but yeah, it was a total commercial, man.
Just real quick, because we were talking about Sinbad, and he's really gonna, kind of pop up like now for the second time for good in this movie. Yeah. Just want to say, Sinbad, get better, man. We're pulling for you. I hope you make a full recovery.
Had a stroke, man. Poor guy. Yeah. Dude, fuck 2020. For real.
2020's dog shit. Boba Fett died yesterday. It sucks.
Who died? Sorry?
Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah, Boba Fett died.
Yeah, sucks.
There's some... My uncle just died yesterday.
No, sorry about that.
It's just so weird, man. Like, I mean, I've had a few people die in 2020 because of COVID. So unfortunately, it's becoming like a roll your eyes thing. Like, what the fuck else is coming? You know what I mean? Like, you're so used to it now. It's like you're not. It's just bullshit. But yeah, man. I mean, we'll see if 2021 gets better. But don't take Sinbad. What is it they always keep saying? Oh, they need like all these old people that are still around, these like legends in music or movies or whatever, just go hide in a bunker for a while. Like, just you're not safe.
Yeah. Yeah, like probably my worst fear this year was my mom catching it because she's 71 now, but apparently she has it now and she's making a full recovery and never got too sick. Just pretty much she can't taste or smell anything. That seems to be the worst thing.
Yeah. There are I've heard like a lot of people that like are really old and stuff. They get it like you think they'd be the worst people to get it, and they can make it. So it's completely like sometimes it's just like they pull through. Here's a fun fact though. Tim Allen was considered to play the role of Howard in this movie. That's funny.
Wasn't it the one thing I heard? Wasn't it something about the scheduling with Santa Claus Part 2? He couldn't do both.
Oh, he made the wrong fucking decision.
So Santa Claus was 94, the first one, right?
Yeah,
94. Okay, and this was 96. So I guess he would have been filming Santa Claus 2. I don't know,
Well, it said scheduling, but then again, I'm thinking, well, at the time, Jingle All the Way is Fox, and Disney was like, putting him in those Santa Claus movies, even if they weren't really, even if technically I think he could have filmed them both. I just don't think Disney wanted him to film both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, he seemed Tim Allen is one of those cases where it's like real old school. Like, this studio owns John Wayne. This studio, he seems like a studio owned actor, right? Because I mean, I think there's like one movie I saw him do where it wasn't a Disney movie, and it was the only movie in his repertoire that was PG-13 and not PG. Was it Joe Somebody or something? Was that what it was called? And it's got like that ensemble cast. And I was blown away because it wasn't a Disney movie. Well, I guess
best movie.
He did Big
Galaxy
Trouble.
Quest.
Yeah. Oh, maybe Big Trouble's what I'm thinking about actually. And then maybe Christmas of the Cranks isn't Disney. That's like Fox, isn't it?
No, that thing I read was complete bullshit because Santa Claus 2 came out like 2002.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought the years aren't adding up there unless he was contracted and it got delayed.
It must have been a contract thing.
Well, he was still on Home Improvement too. Maybe there was like stuff there.
Maybe it was just the first Santa Claus movie. Like maybe they were originally going to film this like a couple years earlier or something. Because you know sometimes that happens. Like they just keep restarting a film project and then somebody leaves and then blah blah blah.
Yeah, we should talk. This is actually kind of about the Cabbage Patch Kids craze that happened years before, and it just so happened that while they were making this movie, the Tickle Me Elmo craze was going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was like they were filming a movie about like that time when the fucking Cabbage Patch Kids were huge. And the whole movie was written about that. And then like they were going through another one, and like like fucking just people going crazy for fucking toys.
And it's maybe it's just because I'm not part of this whole fucking scene anymore. But it seems like it's like we don't have this shit anymore every year. But for a while there, I could have told you there was that hot toy every season.
Right.
That was
Well,
like
the fucking I guess the PlayStation and the new Xbox could be considered that probably.
Well, there's not enough inventory to cause this much craze on the PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
right? But I remember, what would it have been? So when the Power Rangers came out, 1993, that Christmas when all the toy line came out, and the show was huge. My mom, I was huge into Power Rangers because I was the perfect age. I was like 7. And my mom said it was like Cabbage Patch Dolls. She said it was insane. Because they just came out with the 5 basic figures of the 5 Rangers with the flip heads, or 6 because they had Green Ranger Tommy in there too. And she said it was a nightmare finding any of that shit. And I actually got a Green Ranger, which was pretty rad. But she equated it to like Cabbage Patch Dolls too. And
Yeah.
so.
I mean, obviously, Cabbage Patch was my generation, but me being a boy, the thing for me was Transformers, and like almost. I mean, obviously not like you see in the movie, but like how everybody just trampled everybody in the store. Like I got caught in a trampling kind of. There was because I was like whatever wanting Transformers. You know, I would get I could find like the little ones like at grocery stores and shit. But there was like a department store. It was called Gold Circle. They don't exist now. But me and my mom went, and because somehow she knew they were supposed to have them. It might have been when she was working there because she worked there for a little while. So anyway, like there was 2 entrances to the store. So we lined up at one, and I guess other people lined up at the other one. And like for some reason, like they let our entrance in like a minute earlier than the other ones. So like we walked to the freshly stocked, like it was like the entire aisle was just all Transformers. And like I was allowed to get one of the kind of like the medium sized ones, like either one of the cars or jets or whatever. And like, you know, hardly able to find any for months and months and months. And now like here I was trying to get my pick of like, you know, and I was just looking, trying to decide which one I really wanted.
Yeah.
And like and then like a minute later, the crowd came and like everybody just started, just like you see in the movie. I swear to God, like people were like, you know. And then my mom kind of like shielded me, and she's like, "You got to pick one. You got to pick one." And I was like, "This one." She would reach out, somebody would grab it. Like, this one. And basically, about the 3rd or 4th one, I think I got wheeljacked that day. And I was like, "Cool," you know. But like literally, it was like a fucking cartoon, dudes, because they had all the big stocked ones, and then they had the smaller ones like that were on pegs, you know. And when the people like it was, I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. Within 90 seconds, that whole half aisle was gone. Like there was only 1 or 2 little things just hanging off the pegs, but not on the shelves, nothing.
I know Zach's dying to say something about that pedophilia scene we just experienced, but I have to make a mention, Zach. This movie moves so fast to where we couldn't even comment on that scene because it's already over. Now we're on to Jim Belushi, which you want to talk about too. It's like no way would any actor or Arnold sign on to have a scene like that today. Like I don't even want to joke about that. Me being a kitty diddler.
I was gonna say like you gotta feel bad for him because like you get caught in the fucking balls at the playpen at like you know fucking Burger King. Usually it's like they don't know why you're there. It's usually like obviously you're trying to sniff the kid's panties, but like in this movie it's just like he was trying to get a fucking doll. Like leave him alone.
Dude, he fucking grabbed her mouth. Like how inappropriate. Howard should have been arrested.
I remember as a kid seeing that scene where she puts the thing in her mouth, and I just remember bursting out laughing, like, what a fucking stupid kid. Even as a kid, I was like, what an idiot. Like,
Well, this movie kind of has an edge to it because they totally play it as like a pedophile joke. Because aren't the moms hitting them saying pervert, pervert? Yeah.
Yeah. You pervert. And he goes, I'm not a pervert. I'm just looking for Turbo Man doll. And that sets up the next scene for him to overhear it and go, you looking for Turbo Man? Like, because the line is so injected and it makes no sense. Like, if you were just caught putting your big fucking baseball mitt hands on a little girl's mouth in the ball pit and everybody was calling you a pervert, you would fucking hightail it and just run away. You wouldn't slow down and just back away saying, I'm not the pervert. Just looking for Turbo Man doll.
I'd probably try to tell him what I was. Actually, like, yeah, you just running away probably makes you look worse.
Well, yeah, for anybody not following along with the movie, basically what happened was, like, they only had X amount of dolls, so they were going to raffle them off, and they wrote numbers on, like, bouncy balls, and then everybody hit the guy with the ball, so they all went scattering. So, like, Arnold went through like, probably, except for the ending part, that's probably kind of like, well, one of the main action scenes of the movie where he's running, jumping, and almost falling off, which, like, I had flashbacks to Commando mall scene when I was watching that the other day. But yeah, like, he's trying so hard to get this ball, and he's like, I gotta get the little ball with the guy. But I'm just like, dude, you got, like, one ball out of 100. Like, even if you pulled that ball out of that little girl's mouth, like, there's no guarantee at all that you'd even get a doll with that bullshit.
Yeah,
I think it set up that was the winning ball because he started chasing it and he's like, oh, I got it. I think that was it. But like,
well, no, I think it was everybody that got a ball was going to get one. I thought that's the way it was, right?
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a raffle, but I could be wrong. Because what's the point of like, oh, everybody with a ball? Like, why don't you just hand the dolls out then if everybody with a ball? Because the guy just had a big bucket of them and he was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it made no sense, but.
We're about to add to the tradition of pro wrestlers that have played Santa with the Big Show because he joins the ranks of Santa with muscles, Hulk Hogan, unfortunately, and Goldberg as Santa Slay.
Is Santa with muscles the movie that has AIDS?
Yes, in fact, it is.
Okay.
Indeed.
Just wanted to double check that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the guy who's always playing one of Santa's helpers is playing fucking an elf in this movie. He's on the Seinfeld episode playing it, and he was on some other TV show around the same time.
I mean, it's hard being a dwarf. I mean, in the acting world.
Exactly.
Peter Dinklage, he shook out of it.
I remember as a kid, like this scene always like. I remember like this completely going over my head as a kid because like the idea of like bootlegging and stuff like that didn't really. Because I remember like, oh, he gets the toy. What's he mad about? He gets the toy. Like they made him pay way too much for it, but he gets the toy. Yeah, it's like the multilingual. Just pull the little tab out of the back, and then he'll go to the English speaking version or something. And then like, oh, it falls apart. Like just put it back together. It didn't come in like put together.
Yeah, you were dumb. Hey, isn't this funny?
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how my Turbo Man is going for more than this guy's fucking inflated fucking scalping price? That's funny. $300.
Well, like the thing I kind of don't understand is I get he's like pissed that like, oh, it's the Spanish version of the doll, so it's kind of like the janky version. But like I don't get why it falls apart as well. Like is it supposed to be just that they're trying to pass off a lesser desirable Spanish speaking doll, or is it just a fake doll in general?
I think it's fake. Yeah, like they're just bootlegging shit.
Yeah. China bootleg.
And again, like this scene kind of goes down in history with like the same level of criticism that the end of Halloween 3 gets, where like they're still making the mask on Halloween or whatever. It's like, why are you still like getting all these toys ready for Christmas Eve? Like it's over. You know what I mean? Like where are you going to sell them in the next 6 hours or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember this is like this scene has some of the most differences I remember noticing from the different versions, like this extended cut. Some of the scenes that are in this version are like different takes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like there's an uncredited fucking cameo from Vern Troyer coming up. He plays the little things. I always felt bad for him as a kid. Yeah, I always felt bad for him. Like I always felt bad. It's like, oh, little buddy. But like watching it as an adult, it's kind of fucking hysterical. Little buddy.
Yeah, it is hilarious. But yeah, like I think this is definitely because I mean like the Turbo Man thing is more like cartoony. I mean this is cartoony too. Don't get me wrong, but like I feel like this scene more than anything. They're like, well, we got Arnold. We got to do some type of action scene because, like, he's literally just punching and beating the shit out of the guys here.
Yeah. I mean, this movie
I always
doesn't
laugh
have
at
shit
that
on
Yeah,
J-
I think it's that shot where he does the little finger thing because I always laugh at that, and I think in the extended version it didn't have that shot, and I was like, "Fuck this version."
He's about to get it.
Yeah, this is where Vern Troyer tries to get Arnold to give him a rim job or whatever.
Exactly.
Bam.
No!
Oh. I have to say that's one like trope I miss in movies. I like when people get punched and go flying like for.
They always
yards.
in both this scene in this part where he got hit and also in Austin Powers' Mini-Me, they always gave him that voice.
Yeah.
Like, that's not his real voice.
No.
Yeah.
Because
Like
he did that. He's like, yeah.
like I love Jim Belushi like a lot. So I mean it's cool to see him in this movie, but I don't know why every time I watch this movie, I get the feeling that it should have been Tom Arnold.
Yeah, I mean they both. Yeah, Tom Arnold's even better. I mean he's so good in True Lies, but yeah, Jim Belushi's fine in this too. But
Do you
Tom
see
Arnold's
Big
fine.
Bully is now on Blu-ray
I did see that.
as a double feature with another movie?
Yeah.
Pete in my
This
apples.
is this is
Yeah,
hilarious
so
too.
Stupid, so stupid. This is so is Rita Wilson gonna trash this too? Like I don't like to be associated with movies. Those cops are retarded.
So,
They should have never bought that.
you know, I bet other than the premiere, Rita Wilson's probably never seen the movie. And so it's like all she remembers is like what she shot. You know what I mean? And she probably just was bitching on the day of the director, like, I can't do this, man. It's going to look so stupid. It's like, you know, it'd be like if you were going to be in a Star Wars movie and you're like, oh, my costume is too silly or something. You know what I mean? Like you have to give into the world of the movie, you know?
Imagine if like what's her name from who played Lois Lane. Imagine she's like, why the fuck would I not notice it's him? He just has his fucking glasses on.
Yeah.
Terry Hatcher, that Lois Lane, she's the best Lois Lane.
If you enjoy some Terry Hatcher, then you need to see 2 Days in the Valley.
Oh yeah, I should.
That's some prime Terry Hatcher.
Unless you're talking about I like Tango and Cash, Terry Hatcher.
Yeah,
I
that's even
prefer-
better.
I prefer Molly Hatchet.
Molly Hatcher, dude. The Terry Hatcher and Tango and Cash is so funny because you know they play off that whole like twist that it's really Stallone's sister, and they gotta keep the audience kind of guessing with the way they talk to each other. But like, dude, a brother and sister would not talk like that to each other. Like you think they're literally about to fuck each other's faces. But she's hot in that movie for sure.
You
What's
never really
unrealistic
talked
about
this.
that?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Hey,
have a sister, but if I did,
And then you were talking about Margot Kidder, Zach. She's bad. She's dead, R.I.P. But batshit crazy Margot Kidder.
Yeah, even she wasn't like, hey, I wouldn't fucking know. I wouldn't notice that he's just not wearing glasses. Is this fucking Clark Kent?
I met Margot Kidder and with Riverman, and I've never met a more oblivious person in my life. So I don't pass. I don't. She might have been that oblivious with Superman.
What if it was all a play and she was just kidding with you because that's how she gets her name?
yeah,
Amazing.
brilliant.
She's just a genius fucking kidder all the time.
Exactly. She's the Margot of kidders.
She never lost her mind.
She kind of reminded me of that. What was it? That receptionist. What is it? Tommy Boy. Remember when David Spade was having a hard time talking about like, was it a plane ticket? What? I don't know. He's like, hi, Earth calling. He's like, and she's like, I don't think so. Just like looking right through him. That's the way Margot Kidder was. She was just a space case. Like, are you here, lady?
I love this scene where he's just keeping on like, it's like what Turbo Man says, always keep your promises. And he just finally like loses it and he's like, I've had it up to you with Turbo Man. Fuck this kid. I would get pissed too.
Yeah,
I'm trying to talk to your hot mom. Shut up for a second.
Well, my dad would never have let me talk like this to him, by the way. He would have bitch slapped me through the phone.
Well, we need to talk about the real crux of this movie because it started as soon in the beginning when Arnold got home and he saw Phil Hartman on his roof. He knows what's going on. Like, this movie is about a guy fighting for his family because his neighbor's actually trying to literally cuck him and take his family away from him.
Exactly. He's gonna fuck the mom and make fucking Jamie Lloyd watch and then tell his fucking dad about it over the phone while he's trying to tell him about fucking bad things going on.
I love, too, that they had one of those 90s movies phones, too, that Jake Lloyd did, where at the bottom of the phone it told you the phone company.
Yeah.
I never had a phone company, like, give me the phone to, like, use the service with. Was that, like, a thing?
I don't know. Yeah.
Not that I don't know.
Because I mean, we only went through like 2 wall phones when I was a kid, but we had to like buy them at like Kmart or something, hook them up to the wall. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
Fun
I don't know
fact.
why you would buy an AT&T phone at a store. You know what I mean?
It's because that
fact.
AT&T chick is so hot. She
Oh,
had
the
those
one
sets.
Yeah, that poor girl, Lily.
She's getting it. Yeah, she's getting it tough. So really quick, this diner, this is filmed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This diner features in a lot of movies filmed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, not limited to Mighty Ducks. Charlie's mom works at this diner, right? Charlie, and then Charlie Conway, and then it's also in what's that movie? What is that movie called with Jack Lemmon and James Gardner? The
Grumpy
president.
old man.
Lemon.
No, My Fellow Americans.
Okay,
It's
my
in that.
fellow American.
And this guy working behind the counter, he appears in like all of them.
Really?
Yeah, he must really work there. He has to, right? So if you watch My Fellow Americans, he tries to give him like a fucking donut or a pie or a piece of pie, and he's like, "It's all in the house." He's like, "It's all in the house, old man." He's like in all of them, and it's this real diner. And there's more movies too. I mean, I'm losing it, but yeah, it's a Minneapolis thing. It's pretty cool.
We're seeing our boy Sinbad for the 3rd time. And fun fact, the Johnny 7 one-man army fucking gun, that's a real thing. And I looked it up on eBay, and it's going for $475 plus $42 shipping. Fucking our boy Sinbad needs to get on that.
Damn, that's hard to believe because the way he describes it, it makes it sound like it's completely made up.
Can I bitch? Can I bitch about shipping? By the way, what the fuck happened to the U.S. postal system?
Oh,
What the
it's
fuck
everywhere,
happened?
dude. It's everywhere.
It's like I recall some years back when they started changing the way they price stuff to add a multiplier by the dimensions. It wasn't just weight anymore. But I sold something on eBay and I had to cancel the sale, and I felt bad about it because when you go on eBay, they give you sort of recommended shipping, and don't ever fucking trust that. I made the mistake, and I was like, fuck. And then I went and I did the calculations on the USPS website. I had it all packed up. I weighed it. I had all the dimensions. I put it in, and it quoted me. You know what I sold? An Urkel doll in the box, a fucking shitty Urkel doll. Now the thing weighed like 24 ounces, a pound and a half in the box that it was packed in. And the box that I found was the perfect size. It was like exactly the same size as the actual Urkel in its own box. So the thing weighed nothing. It was just the fact that it was a pull string doll. So it was 18 inches high, right? 18 inches high and like fucking like 6 inches wide, like a pull string doll box. You can imagine it with the doll exposed, right? And because of the dimensions, that motherfucker was going to cost $48 to ship, the cheapest 6-day ghetto shipping, not even like priority basic. And I had to pull the sale back. I'm like, I am not spending 48 fucking dollars. You know what I mean? Like at that point, it doesn't make sense, like to profit. And I was appalled. I'm like, so
Probably
now
they completely lost money considering how much the doll cost you and whatever.
Oh, the Urkel doll doesn't go for much, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I know those are cheap because I've seen them around.
yeah. So the Urkel doll, I sold it for 40, and I was after eBay fees and all that shit, and I expected to pay a little shipping. I was probably gonna net 35 max, so I wasn't gonna pay 48 to make 35. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So I had to cancel it, and I waited. I made the mistake of what happened with this one was I accidentally forgot to turn off buy it now. So somebody actually bought it because I didn't want to fucking go during Christmas time, the post office. I wanted everything to end after Christmas. And so, but whatever, I was trying to honor it. And I went to the post office yesterday. 90 minutes I was waiting this line that just snaked all over the building. And so I waited 90 minutes, and then I get up there knowing I'm probably going to make for pennies on this, only to be told, oh yeah, shipping is worth more than the fucking doll itself. I was insulted. I mean, it wasn't the lady's fault. It wasn't their fault. But I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with the system? So now I can only sell stuff that's in a small box. Anything else will have to be sold locally.
Was that like whatever that $48 price or whatever it was that like also like pandemic markup prices? Because like
I have no fucking clue.
Yeah,
man.
like I've tried to buy stuff not in the U.S. but overseas. And we're like from I can't remember if it was Amazon UK or Amazon. I think it was Amazon Germany, and like the shipping was like almost as much as the Blu-rays I was going to buy. And I'm like, wait, like I've bought shit from here and it's never been like this before.
Well, they have a type of shipping I can't remember what it's called, but it is like a budget shipping, but it has to meet qualifications. It has to weigh under 16 ounces, has to weigh under a pound, and it has to be certain dimensions. So basically, if it's small, like I have some like action figures that'll meet the qualifications because I can put them in a small enough box and they'll be fine. And those, it's like if it meets those qualifications, you can ship it like 3-day shipping, 2-day shipping for like under $5. It's great. But if you're over that, you're fucked. And the gap is just insane. Like, I mean, it's just, and the fact that the estimator when you go to the USPS website just fucking straight up lied to me, and then I wasted my time is bullshit. So I'm just afraid to sell anything.
You know what other gap is insane? Fucking our boy Arnold Schwarzenegger's. I want to fucking Tony Hawk that shit.
I love Martin Mull, by the way. He's so fucking good. Mr. Mom, he's great. Roseanne, he was so funny with Fred.
You guys
Willis.
ever see Fernwood Tonight?
No.
That was on when I was a real little kid. There's clips on YouTube. It was like a fake late night talk show he would do. He was the host, and they used to have Gary Coleman on it when Gary Coleman was a little kid. Oh, it was the best, man. Anybody look up on YouTube Fernwood Tonight. It was great.
I just watched an old video of Gary Coleman on Howard Stern show. So weird. But yeah, Martin Mull's fucking the shit.
So there's so many things I want to talk about with you, Aaron, but I'll save it till we'll have to do a little bit after the credits chat. But
sure. Yeah,
go ahead, Zach. We need to talk about this movie.
I was just gonna point out that I stole that Tony Hawk Gap teeth joke from Mac.
How nice of you to
Shame
give
on
credit
you.
where it's due.
It's the while we're recording this, it's the last night of Hanukkah, and to and totally against the good faith nature of Hanukkah, you're stealing jokes, Zach. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I love the lack of consequence in this movie. Sinbad makes terroristic bomb threats, and he actually delivers on a bomb threat because it goes off. Nobody does anything to him. I mean, it's only at the end of the movie when he straight up kidnaps a kid, and he doesn't even take it seriously. Like, he's probably going to jail for a long time. He's like, "Hey, man, thank you. That means a lot. Like it made his Christmas. It made his Christmas that this kid showed him the meaning of Christmas and gave him a toy." I'm like, he's about to get his ass pounded for the next 50 years.
The cops probably just confiscated that and never gave it back to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be evidence.
And
so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny. Like, yeah, everybody's reaction to all the shit that goes on. Ooh, I love that. Ooh.
Thinking about like the logic of it afterwards is kind of like just as funny. Like, it makes the movie even funnier.
Oh, absolutely. I love his sock gloves. They're so funny.
Also, too, it's kind of a beta thing, but I love how, like, with the Sinbad character, they totally want to cash in on the whole going postal, talking about the USPS, postal workers going nuts and shit. But if you look closely, he's a completely fake postman. Like, his logos on his shit is something mail, something delivery. Like, it's totally like a fake third-rate company, even though all the colors of his uniform are like the USPS.
I love the classic Sinbad tirades and him going postable. Had sex with everybody in the office but me. Just losing his shit. He should have just pulled out a fucking Uzi and just ended it all. It's just like a movie like this could have got dark fast.
But by the way, just that second there where like somebody threw Arnold into like the wall of tapes, like Arnold's totally selling it like he's in Total Recall 2 or something. He's like, oh, he's getting hit and shit. He's like,
Yeah, I think he's brilliant, man. People need to fucking leave Arnold alone and shit like that, and leave movies like this alone because, like you said, it's so quotable and that lasts forever. I saw Tom Green do stand up one time, and he made a good point. He's like, people can shit on Freddy Got Fingered all they want, but everybody here, all you guys have been doing nothing but yelling, "Say this line, say this line, say this line." Does anybody remember a single word from The English Patient? That thing won Best Picture. No, I thought so, right?
When
it's my hooves.
Yeah, did you yell out any quotes when he did that joke? Because I've participated in that joke before too, Aaron.
Oh no, I was working there, so I wasn't that into it. I was waiting tables and shit. I didn't actually pay money to see him, for fuck's sake. God,
I saw him in Vegas a couple years ago, and he did that part, and like everybody threw out the lines. But my favorite line, and like he pretty much didn't acknowledge anybody else. He's just like, But my favorite line, I threw out the line, "This is a fancy restaurant," and he actually stopped and said, "Oh yeah, that's a good one." So I think it was actually one he doesn't hear that often. But like when me and my friends saw that movie, like that for some reason, like that was the line we gravitated to. We were always like, "This is a fancy restaurant."
So stupid.
Amazing.
I tried watching that bum video for the first time in like 20 years. I'm like, let me see what the appeal was, and I watched it now. I'm like, this is so fucking dumb.
I prefer I'm going to throw the piggy off the hill. His follow up. See, I love this too. Like he opens up a bomb, right there. Fucking just goes off in his hand, and it just makes him like a little dark, like makes
like
his
a
skin.
cartoon. Yeah, like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Yeah.
We totally didn't. Arnold, his car ran out of gas. He's finally getting back to his car now. But we totally didn't talk about how you're saying how famous this Mickey's Diner is. We like, it's funny they would film all these movies in such a bad part of town. Because look here, Arnold's car is totally stripped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. Okay, maybe carolers existed at some point in time in some like Charles Dickens novel in that period, but we always see carolers in these modern movies, and I've never seen a fucking Christmas caroler in my lifetime. Have you guys?
I have not, and I have to say, if I were to see one, I would think it would just be neighborhood kids dressed normal. But like these fuckers got like full period authentic Charles Dickens costume regalia. You know what I mean?
It just seems like something they feel like they have to inject in every holiday movie to sort of solidify or certify even more, validate it. But that's not like something that happens. I've never. I think it would honestly be looked. People would be weirded out by it a little bit. Like, what the fuck's going on here?
It's a bunch of people in California being like, "This is what they do in the Midwest. There's nothing else to do. They just go out and sing."
Yeah, we totally miss all the great lines like "Put the cookie down, that's my cookie. It's not a tuma."
Dude, Phil Hartman sounded like he was inside his wife when he was moaning about that cookie.
I know that cookie shit. He's like, "Oh, a cookie!" Like again, like that's why this movie has something for everybody. Like they're trying to make it for adults too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Phil Hartman himself, like R.I.P. He was donk.
He was.
And it's like the way he went was fucking sad. That sucks.
I know.
Did his wife also kill herself? Is that right?
Yes,
She killed herself. Man, I remember that. It seems like he died like right after this. Was it this year?
I want to say, I could be wrong about this, but I want to say it was 98 because I think me and my dad were on vacation. We did like a Las Vegas, California vacation. I thought it happened during then.
Hey, this is him at his lowest right here when he's actually considering stealing from a kid. That's funny. Like kids getting stolen from. That's funny.
I think he should have did it though because like Phil Hartman is like not Phil Hartman, but his character is a scumbag anyway. And it's like it's like he was going to bang his wife. Like if somebody's going to bang your wife, at least steal the toy. Yeah, guys, it was 1998. So literally about a year and a half after this movie was released, he passed away.
He embodies,
got shot in the head, I should say.
He embodies the sleazeball so well, just like Jason Bateman embodies the douchebag very well. Like he always comes off like that jerky character, even when he's like the good guy, the main guy. He's like always kind of a douche. But
he does smug well.
Yeah.
He was also in Small Soldiers. That was the last movie I think because it dedicated it to him at the end. That was directed by fucking one of the greatest directors ever made, Adam Rifkin, who directed one of the greatest comedies, Detroit Rock City.
Small Soldiers was?
Mm-hmm. Or no, maybe
I thought it was Joe Dante made that because it was like, oh, it's his return to Gremlins bullshit.
Adam Rifkin wrote one of the drafts.
I never sat through Small Soldiers.
Oh, I love Small Soldiers.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, does speaking of Small Soldiers, sorry, Rifkin.
Yeah, if Arnold wouldn't have thought twice and just ran out with that toy, none of this shit right here would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Not only would he like not have got caught and like his wife hate him, but Phil Hartman's house wouldn't have partially caught on fire. And Phil Hartman rather have like his doll stolen than his house burned up.
And maybe I'm missing a part in the movie, but after this scene, he gets caught, and next thing I know, they're just like, okay, we're going to the fucking parade without you. Like Phil Hartman's not gonna call the cops. He's not making a big deal, or he's not like he broke and entered into his house, and he's worried about him stealing a toy. Like he almost arsoned and fucking torched his place.
See, this town is very happy-go-lucky. They just let things slide.
Or maybe
Or
maybe Phil Hartman saw that as his ultimate in with Liz. Like, I'm not going to call the cops. I'm going to come off like the big man here, and he just let me He just lubed my cock for me.
I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact. In March 2001, a U.S. District Court jury in Birmingham, Michigan ruled that 20th Century Fox stole the script idea, Jingle All the Way, from Detroit High School biology teacher Brian Webster. The studio was ordered to pay $19 million, later reduced to $1.5 million.
Oh.
Webster submitted the script, then named Could This Be Christmas to the studio in 1994 and never received payment nor credit despite the film making $129 million worldwide. But 20th Century Fox appealed and the verdict was reversed since Webster's script was submitted after the studio had already purchased a treatment summary or outline of what would become this movie script.
I wonder how that even slips by, because if he was a biology teacher, I'm guessing he wasn't in the guild. So they're not those producers and executives, they don't want to touch anything that's unsolicited, right?
Yeah.
And not like in the guild. So somebody must have fucked up, and maybe they just got even more strict after that. But I wonder how that happens too. How does that work? The courts ruled him 19 million, but then got reduced to 1. Like if the courts ruled something, like it sounds like it's too late for a settlement.
Yeah, every time somebody gets big money in a settlement, I notice it always gets appealed and either taken away or reduced by like 98%.
And anytime you're trying to sue a big corporation, it always seems to happen. Weird.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I think this movie too, unless there's like one I'm like forgetting or whatever, but I think this movie too like also started like the thing of like the comedy with the animatronic animal that's like acting up. You know what I'm talking about?
Love it. Yeah, love it.
Like I know Santa Claus came out before this and they had the animatronic reindeers in there, but it wasn't like the full on slap ass physical comedy with them the way it is in this movie and later movies. Now, Zach, I wanted to ask you, because we should say this was your idea to do this film. I guess you felt bad for punching the reindeer in the face, but
yeah, I remember seeing this as a kid and being like, I feel bad for that fucking reindeer. But then, like the scene, they have the little puppet like look at him and burp, and it's like, oh, he's okay with it. He's just chilling.
Well, he's given the reindeer a bowl of beer to drink. Is that because he's trying to get it drunk so he can have sex with it?
Hopefully. That's what I see. He's fucked it up with his wife. He might as well try to fucking score something else.
That would be a nice life, living in this little shed by this river with this reindeer.
Exactly. You think his next door neighbor will let him fucking just live back there with the reindeer?
Look at that.
While
Yeah,
he's fucking his wife.
I just think it's so funny. We just transitioned right to the parade. Like, yeah, fuck all that shit that just happened. It's so funny.
That beer he was drinking was a local beer to this town that they made the movie in, too.
Awesome.
Yeah, support your local microbrewery. I'm for it.
You know what I noticed last time watching this too is it looks like I always remember this like, oh yeah, the big fucking ending with the big parade. This basically the parade consists of basically just this one road we see, this one street, and then like yeah, it looks like there's a lot of people there, but it's not like a sea of people, like and so it's like yeah, I remember it being way bigger as a kid.
Can I say that I would shoot a rope on this newscaster's face too? The chick, not the guy.
Yeah, he's hot. Yeah, I was gonna say like he's playing weatherman Gale Force, this guy, and like I'm probably completely wrong, but I swear like I've only seen this guy play like either news anchors or weathermen before.
He looks. It's funny because I had a Mandela effect. I'm like, that's got to be. Is that Trevor? Hillary Banks's fucking, the fiance that died in Fresh Prince? But no, it's like It's not him, but he looks like that type of guy.
I thought that those were the like real newscasters. They just had to do the movie.
That
like
dude,
yeah, that dude's an actor for sure. I've seen him.
Yeah, I've seen him too. Lots of stuff. You know what? And I got to say too, I do not condone bullying, and I would never ever treat a kid like this. But dude, I always looked at Johnny like, why the fuck is anybody hanging out with that fucking nerd, that dweeb? Look, Cat in the Hat. Like
he's amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Arnold should have stole the toy. This kid was going to be screwed up no matter what.
Yeah, he looks fucked up. Like what kid? Like the fact that kid's too old to be excited about Cat in the Hat. That's for damn sure.
Cat in the Hat. And then the Cat in the Hat does a little jig. I always remember that.
Here it is. Wait, what's he gonna do? Oh, there's a Tick, dude. That rules.
Some awesome Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I couldn't believe the Tick wasn't the Tick still relatively? Well, I guess the cartoon
he had a Fox Kids cartoon.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. I thought he was still underground at this point.
Cabbage Patch Kid, Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
There was Barbie earlier.
Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat?
Yeah, he does that whole jig.
Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, I love that. He's like, yeah, it's so cool. Yeah.
I like how they're like, fuck yeah, Cat in the Hat.
Yeah. like you didn't catch a pick from Springsteen or something.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Fucking Cat in the Hat, man. He pulled his tie and then did a little jig. That's dank. He acknowledged us.
I gotta say, like, Rita Wilson's comments about this film not being realistic enough, or at least not showing her as a strong enough female leading character, or whatever her criticism was. I gotta say, like, all that slap ass shit we saw of Arnold that he went through this movie, like if you had to make the realistic version that Rita Wilson wanted, you'd have to remove all that shit. And I don't think this would be a good movie if it was literally just a realistic portrayal of a guy running from toy store to toy store trying to find a sold out toy.
Exactly. And then it just ends with him not getting it because it's already sold out.
I want to see the extended cut where after Phil Hartman gets totally rejected here, that then he decides to press charges against Howard for breaking into his house and all that shit. Because you know damn well everybody would. Like, well, now I'm not getting your wife. I'm going to fucking take you to court. I'm going to have you arrested.
Oh, that'd be great.
The cop just doesn't forgive you. Remember, he's like, sorry about the bike, the bomb. Yeah.
And then he reveals that the eggnog he gave her earlier was actually his semen.
I was gonna say, like, she turns him down, but doesn't he still come in this scene? Because doesn't a bunch of like white shit fly up all over his face?
Yeah. It's amazing.
I love it.
The Turbo Man was originally called Turbo Tom. So much more donk.
Turbo Tom. That sounds like a porno thing.
Exactly.
I was gonna say though, like I forgot to bring up, because like they established earlier in the movie that like at the karate rehearsal or whatever, which I thought was weird too, that they had karate class at like the local school or whatever. But like all the neighborhood women, like they want Phil Hartman. He just wants the married woman who's married to Arnold. So he really, like, it's not even that like he can't get laid. It's just he just wants to cuck.
I always got the impression that he was a player and he fucked everybody. That's what I thought, but maybe it is the way you're saying it, where he didn't actually take these offers.
It's like Ben Healy in part 2 when he first moved to that new house.
It's Single Mom Central, and he's like the Bachelor. You're probably right. Yeah, I like that.
See, like he had white shit all over his face. He came.
Dad, you smell like cum. Let's get out of here.
What do you guys think of the smell of cum?
Seawater? Take it or leave it.
It always reminds me of like the stuff the guys put in like the swimming pool or whatever. Like
I thought you were gonna say the stuff guys put in your ass. Okay, guys, I think that is cum.
I don't know if they put them in our ass or your ass. 'Cause you're the one who came up with a great question. Whose fictional finger do you want up your ass, E.T. or the Ninja Turtle?
That's a recurring thing with me, is thinking about the turtle's finger fucking somebody and like how much money it would take.
See, here's where the movie just takes a completely whimsical turn. Like from now on, the same. Well, it is kind of the same logic because he did pick up a fucking bomb. It blew up in his hand. He didn't die. Like it kind of is laying out this logic throughout the whole movie.
Was Jim Carrey's Edward Nygma not available for this role as the set designer?
No.
Exactly.
Costume guy?
Well, if they remade this movie now, I would bet $1,000 that they would have that role played by Kyle Mooney from Saturday Night Live. This is like the role he plays in every Hollywood comedy movie.
He kind of looks like the guy who directed Detroit Rock City, Adam Rifkin.
Yeah. Rifkin
Fucking
is dog.
He's a Chad. What
did he do most recently, Rifkin? What's his most recent flick?
I don't know. He did
a little bit.
He did The Chase with fucking what's her name?
That was
Christy
a while
Swanson.
ago.
That was awesome.
That was in the 90s.
That was a long time ago. That's the one with Charlie Sheen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a fun movie. That's a real fun movie.
Did you ever hear that story about like Denise Richards showing up like home and she would find Charlie Sheen? Like apparently this is in court records. She would find Charlie Sheen in like the living room ferociously masturbating to child porn.
To child porn?
Apparently,
Yeah.
I forget where I heard this. But like apparently there's court records, and apparently she's like, "You need to stop this for the sake of our children." He's like, "You need to get off my damn back."
Dude,
something like that.
Dude, I'm not one to be like, "Oh, this didn't happen" or "That didn't happen."
Be careful throwing that stuff around, so loose.
But it's kind of like that's either like a fake rumor or it was just her lie that she told in court. Because like, dude, like with all the child welfare investigations and shit that Charlie Sheen has had over the years and the rest, if the cops had a real juicy tip like that, man, they would be like scrubbing his internet history for decades to find anything.
Don't you think if she came out with this after the fact, that they would probably be looking at her as far as like trouble? Like, why were you concealing this?
Didn't report it or whatever.
You can't come at us.
My boy Charlie Sheen does have a juicy tip I can't account, and I do scrub it from time to time.
Have you got?
See, if I would have said that right after the go, that would have gotten a laugh.
Did you wait for him by the trailer with the Crisco jar?
Exactly.
My favorite, the Crisco, fuck. My favorite Charlie Sheen video ever, like that whole period when he went just AWOL from 2.5 Men, he went fucking batshit, Tiger Blood.
Yeah.
Dude, there's this video on YouTube of these two like frat house bros in the drive-through of a Taco Bell waiting, and then you know where the ordering window is and there's bushes. He just appears. He's like Sasquatch.
I remember this video. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, he just appears through the bushes and he's all fucking high on something, and he's like in the window. What's up, guys? He's like doing this video with them. That's just like something out of a Family Guy skit where a celebrity shows up on command out of nowhere.
When he was high on Tiger Blood, he could just materialize. Like he doesn't. Like he just shows up out of thin air.
I mean, how fucking random.
Exactly. See, I always thought like I could have sworn when I was watching this last time I was like, yeah, they're real newscasters. I remember seeing them cover this whole thing, the Thanksgiving parade, and I'm probably just thinking of this fucking movie.
Probably this
Isn't it funny how your mind works like that?
Just like the Sinbad.
I love when he
Jingle
hugs it. I love it. I don't know why. I just love this so much when he hugs it, strokes it, and watch this. He's gonna embrace that.
This one's it's not just a Turbo Man doll, the one that he has to give away into the crowd. Like they say it's like a special edition. What's special about it?
It's got a silver T. The T on his chest is silver instead of gold, which I always was told silver was worse and inferior to gold.
Yeah.
But shit, dude. My fucking Turbo Man's going off the charts right now, man. You know, everybody's automatic bids are getting set off. Which I have to do some more research, man, because somebody messaged me about my Turbo Man, and they said, so why is your disc launcher gold? I've seemed to believe they're all red, and I did some research. I'm like, every picture I'm finding online, the disc launcher is red. Mine's gold, like it matches all his other hardware. I'm like, I wonder if mine's extra rare.
Just tell them you got the special edition they use in the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, just tell them yours is a prop from the movie.
I'll be like that guy.
Then
the list price of every Turbo Man just doubled. Like you just increased the value of this.
Yeah,
I should have pointed that out.
Yeah, I didn't want one in the box or whatever, but a couple years ago, even what they were going for then, like once I discovered this movie, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I bought a Turbo Man. And I looked up how much they went for even out of the box. I was like, I'm not even paying that much for it.
Am I crazy? Should I hold on to it? Should I actually sell it? I mean, like for that much money? Come on, would you guys or no?
I mean, you already have it listed, so I think you kind of got to sell it, right?
No, technically, no. You're allowed to end. You can end an auction before it's over.
Okay, yeah, I've had that happen, not on high dollar items, but just like little, whatever, $20 Blu-rays. I've had people just in the auction all of a sudden. I never understood what happened.
I mean,
the only Turbo Man doll I've ever seen in real life was my cousin Matt. He was the only one I knew that got one.
Well, I'm always wondering, like, I've never needed the money bad enough, and I always figure, well, these things are just accrue value, and I don't like display them. They're just in storage or whatever. But like, I'm moving into a new house in February, and I'm like, well, I guess I could use the money now because I want to like up my podcasting in my workroom, and I want to like get an OLED screen for my workflow and my PC. It's like all this shit. I'm like, you know what? I can just turn this shit into a couple of grand. Why not? And who knows if the values will keep going up or if they'll go down, and I don't know. But
well, this is what I was going to ask you, because it sounds like you've been collecting and selling a little bit here and there over the years. Like, because I have some shit, that like I could sell for a decent chunk of change, whatever. But like I just never do, because like I always feel like I'm going to have seller's remorse. Like, yeah, you'll have X amount of dollars, but won't you be like, well, I don't have a Turbo Man anymore, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
so you're half right. I've collected a lot and for years, but I never sell. Ever. Like I've never sold. This is my first time. So like actually when someone bought even my Urkel doll and I was heading to the post office, I felt like walking like a funeral procession. It felt like, man, this is the first thing I'm selling, and I'm like,
That line got a big laugh out of me this time because he just says, like, I've got a bigger brain. And it's just funny that he thinks he's not realizing that's what his costume looks like as he says it.
Yeah, Sinbad. We should say Sinbad's dressed up as the villain guy who's like a ripoff of Lord Zed from the Power Rangers, where he has a giant exposed brain.
Apparently, the opening scene where they're showing the show was made to look like a rip-off of the Power Rangers.
Yeah, it looked just like it. Because even these guys that jump out to fight Arnold, they're like fake putties.
Demon Team. They're like putties, yeah. Look at that. Dude, you have that, you're rocking that kind of technology? Like, he's like, hey, like his hand really flew off. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was going to say, where did his real hand go when it flew off? Well,
Fucking
Rita Wilson
genius.
was not, being the script hawk that she should have been at the time for continuity and realness.
Yeah, I don't like fucking Jingle All the Way because that scene where his hand flies off and his hand's actually gone is fucking stupid.
Did she get a paycheck? Dude, I have to think Tom Hanks seems like the ultimate I don't have a stick in my ass actor. Did you think he tells her to shut the fuck up, cunt, sometimes? Like,
Probably.
Just, you know?
I would, yeah.
I mean, I think Tom Hanks has he doesn't shy away from saying, hey, I was in like fucking Joe the Volcano and, Turner and Hooch and all this shit before we became Oscar bait,
Dude, my favorite Tom Hanks movie is Bachelor Party. What the fuck?
Bachelor Party's fucking hilarious. It's I think it's really raunchy for the era too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
they
really
the girl
funny.
fucks a donkey and all that. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah.
Amazing.
Oh goodness.
See, those people that talk about fuck Tom Hanks, he won't make a funny movie anymore. Like, yeah, like people change. Like, he's probably just not that guy anymore. He probably can't pull it off. Leave him alone.
Well, he does the Saturday Night Live thing like every year, and he seems to.
And
have
that's
fun
fucking
slipping into
that's where
that.
comedy goes to die. So that's how you know.
Hey, Tom Hanks' career ain't doing too good, man. He's got to do all these Apple Plus movies and shit now.
Yeah, like you
Paying
see
him a
how
fuck ton.
fucking all these Pizzagate guys are swearing up and down he's like dead.
Yeah. I know. All the pizza guys. What's with pizza guys, man? They're like the inside of info people, like government information now.
Exactly.
That's even Steven's dad, man. That was Ren Steven's dad as that cop, the ultimate character. I see him in all kinds of fucking shit.
He knows Shia.
All I'm going to say is I'm scrolling through the Rita Wilson filmography on IMDb.com, and I'm seeing some real bullshit in here.
Backdoor Slut 6.
My Big Fat Greek Life, My Greek Wedding 2, The Wild
I thought you were gonna
Strawberries,
say My Big Fat Greek Cock. I was like, I gotta see that.
Runaway Bride, Psycho remake. I don't think this is a
Psycho
person that
remake.
that should be in the tradition of poo-pooing movies.
You should be shitting on the Psycho remake. We just remade the movie with shittier actors.
Dude, I think as an actor, it would just be the ultimate blessing to land a holiday movie that picks up enough steam because it's going to be played every year on TV.
I would love it.
You know,
She even said, "Oh, I know people like this movie, but I'm like, yeah, we don't watch it for your female empowerment message that you." Which, by the way, you have that message now, and like you want to show, female intelligence and shit. That's great, but like you made this movie 25 years ago. You know what I mean? Like you should have stuck to your guns in.
Every movie doesn't have to be a perfect example of every character in it.
Right,
Like,
right.
you can have a dumb character, and it doesn't say shit about women as a whole. Why not?
By the way, the special effects here are so poor, where he's flying around the city.
They're amazing. This is really happening.
No, it's very shitty. I'd say it's barely just one or two notches above Avengers Endgame.
The only studio that makes more and more money with each release but spends less on their actual fucking production.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure this is a remake of The Rocketeer.
Rocketeer was donk.
Jennifer
Connelly, come on.
Jennifer Connelly and Billy, what's his fucking name?
Is it Campbell?
Billy Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah, great movie.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I've been wanting to go back and watch it.
Me too. I saw it when I was in kindergarten.
I remember I liked it as a kid.
When I was watching this the other day, I swear, like the whole scene where he flies around so much, it's like kind of pointless. But it's like like the whole thing just feels like it was made for
a trailer.
Well, for trailer or 3D, which didn't exist at the time, really.
Look at this. Look at that.
Yeah.
He killed him.
Why is he fucking like he's audio rock? Like he's got a belt around his neck.
I know.
Trying not to come. No,
But you know what? I give it credit. It goes full cartoon here, and I like that.
When I see stuff like when he went through that African American family having Christmas dinner, like that's something they made just for a trailer because it wasn't the trailer. Like what?
Yeah.
Like why is that there?
That and when he kicked the flaming head out of Phil Hartman's window, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're really like that, man. Like I've talked with enough of those people, and they're like, we need something for the trailer. Like I told you in the past, Zach, when we were writing and working on that one thing that still hasn't seen the light of day. Like literally, one of the potential backers was like, Needs more levitation. Like what? There's what levitation? Like what? This isn't Evil Dead. Like they didn't give a shit what the movie was about. They just wanted some levitation because it was hot right now in the Middle East or whatever. Like, so you want us to shoehorn in something just for a trailer? Some guy levitating when there's nothing supernatural? Okay.
That's a good tip. I'm working on a script outline right now. Maybe I'll put some levitation scenes in it.
Needs more levitation. Yeah. And Randall tells me that all the time. Like, yeah.
Just have two characters levitating while they're talking to each other and don't even acknowledge it. Like, don't explain anything. Yeah. Like, they wanted that for the trailer.
But it really is a thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think the only difference on that Turbo Man action, like the special edition, is that the it's still gold, but it's chromed. It's all chromed out, not matte finish like the rest.
It's like got actual gold, probably like 14 karat gold instead of like plastic or something.
Amazing.
This movie, this holiday movie, to me, it's somewhere between the Santa Claus and the greatness that is Home Alone. Home Alone's kind of the high bar, and by the way, Rita Wilson should be glad she's in a holiday movie because you could say Macaulay Culkin's washed up or whatever if you want, or he's emblematic, a relic of that era, but he's always going to be a pop culture icon because Home Alone will not die.
I kind of want to get Rita Wilson to cosplay as Rita Repulsa, and I'll be Tommy or Lord Zed, and we'll fuck like Stone Test Bunnies.
Hashtag hot take. I think the lady who played Rita Repulsa is better looking than Rita Wilson. Boom.
What about the one that replaced her in the American version when they had no more Super Sentai footage and they went to that Latina and to write that in, they had to like write in the story that she got like a de-aging serum.
Yeah, I like her too. I know you're talking about. Like I wasn't still watching when she was on the show. I only saw like the first.
She was in the movie, wasn't she?
Yeah, the hot Latina chick. She was in the movie too.
Way better than Rita Wilson.
Well, no, I was going to say, and on the other end of the spectrum was like the Santa Claus, which I love the Santa Claus too. But
I do too.
The Santa Claus is one of those movies that resorts to using cheap fart jokes.
Yeah, I don't like the fart humor. Like I can't remember. Didn't they don't play it like it's a fart joke, but when Phil Hartman first brings out the reindeer, don't it fart or something?
No, the reindeers fart in the Santa Claus.
Okay.
Right? Easy, Rudolph. And then when Scott Calvin gets out of the bed the first morning back after the North Pole, he farts. They do a few in that movie. And that's just the ultimate, hey, kids are seeing this movie. They love farts. Like, okay, it's pretty lowbrow.
We just talked over the thing that she hates about this movie. She finds out and she goes, Howard.
Yeah, she's just pissed at her performance because she's a shitty actress and she can't sell it.
Oh,
Howard.
She was great. She was amazing.
Robert Conrad's great.
I like how the kid instantly doesn't want the doll anymore.
Yeah, I'd be fucking pissed. Can you imagine? He's like, Jimmy, are you sure? Like, you motherfucking piece of shit. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna abort you right now in front of all these people.
See, this scene's super cute though, because like this whole time they find out, oh, it's him. Like, you got a smile on your face, and then he says, oh, I don't need the doll. I got the real Turbo Man home. It's like, oh, but in real life, it'd be like, fuck you, kid. You know what I just fucking went through?
That's what I'm saying. I think the Christmas message they're going for is kind of lost here. Like, what's the message? Like, give unto others. Give. Like, I get it. The meaning of he's giving, but no, what? Your dad is about to go down and probably serve 100 years in jail for this.
I know. Keep that doll.
Fucking Sinbad, like basically he wasn't a bad guy. Like, he's got a kid and he's just like fucking Howard. He was on the losing end of getting that fucking doll, so he was willing to stoop to lower fucking things that Howard. Well, I mean, Howard almost stole from the kid too. So yeah, it's just like fucking. But yeah, it's a cute little ending.
Why couldn't they give him a box with that special edition Turbo Man? It looks like he found
It looks like one of the bootleg ones.
Yeah, it looks like one of the bootleg ones where he found it at a Goodwill or something.
That's my dad.
Jay, that's another thing everybody did. I'm a perpetual George Lucas Star Wars defender. Everybody's like, there's like this like retelling of history that George Lucas picked the shittiest kid out of all the kids who auditioned, and they're always like, well, everybody in the room was saying, oh, like, why don't you pick these other kids? They're better. And George said he liked Jake Lloyd because he wasn't as fake and rehearsed. But I'm like, dude, like, he picked the kid that just starred in a big hit movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not like he plucked him out of obscurity from a fucking shopping mall. Like, it's like he actually, mother on phone, Mo Collins.
I mean, Even if he did, like he is like, well, this kid's already been on a set. He knows how it works. We're not gonna have to fuck around with him that long.
I bet he hangs out with Brian Bonsall now. They both have those sweet teardrop tattoos.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I like Jingle. I support him.
The kid from Kazam too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he went straight cholo, dude. Like I didn't even realize he was Latino, but now you see him now, and he's like, whoa, he's definitely. I had no idea he was like Chicano.
I think he was in like The Wire or something like that, and he played like one of the gang members or something.
He looks it, man.
I never knew that kid did other stuff, but like
Max.
Since they shot these pretty much back to back, Arnold did Jingle All the Way, and then he filmed Batman and Robin. Do you think when they showed him the costume for Batman and Robin, he was probably like, "Why does this look shittier than my Turbo Man costume?"
Exactly. No, that costume was great because he had the blue thing in his mouth.
Yeah,
the LED light.
It lit up his tongue and shit. I remember that.
I actually think the suit and the costume is fun. It looks pretty neat on the Mr. Freeze, and
his dialogue is bomb.
He knows
too.
it's in a shit movie. And he sells the fuck out of it, so it's like whatever.
What's funny is he's the only one that knows it's a shit movie too. Like George Clooney's all like, "Yeah, I'm really going mainstream here. Look how mainstream."
And there's that video from Access Hollywood where he's doing the press junket for the movie, and he's shit talking Arnold. Like he's shit talking the movie he's supposed to promote, right? Have you seen that video? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so it's George Clooney. Yeah, he's talking. He knows. He's like, I was in the shittiest movie ever, and he's trying to answer questions. He's not even trying to pretend like he likes what he just did, and he's saying all kinds of derogatory shit about it. And he's like, well, Arnold said this. We had Arnold on. He said this. He's like, yeah, that Arnold would say that. He's like, Arnold would say Arnold's fake.
Yeah, basically, what do you think of your new movie? And he was like, and Arnold said it was going to be fun for the whole family. And he was like, yeah, Arnold would say that.
Well, no. Well, you look at it when Arnold was doing press for Mr. Freeze, he was on the Tonight Show, and he was going hardcore cheer. He was really selling it like it was a sham wow. And that's kind of his job. They kind of pay him to do that, right? It's in the contract.
Well, yeah, you can literally get sued if you either don't do the press or you make the press shitty on purpose. You know what I mean?
Well, and I always quote him, right? I tell you, Zach, where he's like, Mr. Freeze makes the Terminator look like a babysitter. He was telling us, that's what he said on Tonight Show. He's really selling it. And George Clooney, if you catch his interviews on shit, he's the opposite. Yeah, Arnold's fake. Arnold's, of course, he's fucking telling you that. Yeah. I don't know. He seems like a fucking stick in the mud because after that, George Clooney's foray into blockbuster movies was over. Now he just wants to make all these Coen brother type movies, and he wants to make all his produced, and I don't really like any of his movies. I mean, I don't really like too many of his movies, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like him, but I own very few of his movies. I think the best movie he ever did was From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, but that was pre Stick in My Ass. That's before he really, really, really blew up, But I agree. But he's got that Netflix show that's coming out that looks interesting. That Lost in Space looking fucking thing.
Is everybody still watching the movie? Because there is an after credit scene.
Yeah, I'm still watching the credits. They're going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I saw the best boy grip was Kevin Rambo Fitzgerald.
If you watched the extended cut, you already saw the after credit scene as the ending. They just moved it to after the credits.
Right.
But it was meant to set up a potential sequel.
Which we did get.
I would have loved that.
We did finally.
Oh god! Don't even mention that abortion. Which, by the way, this movie was kind of rare. I think because it's a Fox movie and Disney bought Fox, and they plus Pandemica 2020, they probably weren't reprinting copies as fast as they needed to. I had to look around to every retailer online to find a fucking copy of this. But I tried to eBay it first, and oh my god, dude, I had to wade through the listing of shitty DVDs of Jingle All the Way 2 with fucking Larry the Cable Fuckface. Oh,
the new Turbo Man. The new Turbo Man in Jingle All the Way 2 is just a teddy bear. It's the big craze, the teddy bear.
Right. Yeah.
All the people want it. But what do you think of the Blu-ray cover of this? It's one of those where they tried to make it it's a Christmas movie. So instead of him wearing the Turbo Man outfit on the front of the movie, we're gonna put a Santa hat on him. Technically, he never dresses up in a Santa suit, but it's not really false advertising because it's a Christmas movie.
And he's got a beard around his neck.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd's pulling the beard off of him, revealing it's Howard. But I mean, that fits the context of maybe if he was in the Turbo Man suit, like you said, revealing it's him. But
Yeah.
it's
Well, the
totally,
back
totally
cover is even wackier. He's got the Santa hat on. He's holding a Turbo Man doll. All this is clearly photoshopped. He clearly never took a photo like this. He's got Sinbad in a fucking headlock.
well, like in the front cover, it looks like they ripped that shot of him in bed, right, where he's like
Yeah.
got his eyes wide open, but they like added a whole bunch of Photoshop to brighten it or something. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One I noticed, like after watching this, I was like, man, that movie still holds up. I still really like that movie. I love this movie actually. It hits a warm spot. It came out that perfect time, and like I was like, I'm gonna look through some of the reviews, and a bunch of the reviews I was seeing, like it seemed like they went into it like because of the Blu-ray cover, and were like, what the fuck? Like they were shocked that like. There wasn't like a lot of them were like, I don't like how depressing the movie is. It's very it talks about like the fucking commercial aspect of Christmas and not much else and all this shit. Betas.
It's funny too is I always know everybody always goes on and on and on about Arnold and his acting abilities, but growing up I never got it. I never saw him as a bad actor, and then I started getting older and I kept seeing him as like the butt of this joke of acting. And maybe it's one of those things where he was just so larger than life and he's so charismatic to where it just outshines everything. Like he's Arnold and he's so charismatic where his acting works. I mean, I don't see a bad. I mean, clearly, I guess it is right. He's doing the kung fu. He's got a lot of weird shit going on.
Yeah, but he was directed to act that way.
There's nobody. I don't think there's nobody that's more charismatic as a leading guy than Arnold.
He's likable. Like bad acting is sellable as long as you're likable. Like fucking the Reeves, he's not a great actor, but he's likable.
Well, I mean, look at Commando. When he's kind of militant and lack of expression, and he delivers lines, kind of like in Total Recall 2 and those older movies. He says everything with such authority where it's like, fuck, okay. He's just so charming. Like he's got it. He's charismatic.
And he's got the accent too, so you can like, he sounds different because he doesn't like he's from another place. It's a little different down there.
I mean, I really do think when they talk about in the industry, like this person just has like an it factor. You do have like the really really good actors, but when you have these really 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 awesome like play actors and stage actors, they're like fucking mostly character actors. But the leading men always have like that it factor or charisma over anything else, like your Keanu's or your Arnold's. Like it's not just the acting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like those guys are going to be like your side guys. They're always going to be like that.
See, yeah, we talked to her, but she goes, yeah. She goes, yeah, that was fun. He puts a star on the tree. They're all happy. She goes, that reminds me, what'd you give me for Christmas? And then it fucking zooms into his face like, oh shit.
Yeah, like I gotta say, it works better as an after credits thing than the end of the movie.
Exactly. We've all been there. We've all been like, oh, I forgot all about you.
Yeah.
Fucking the fucking Thanksgiving isn't a real holiday. I just fucking
And it doesn't really.
He forgot about everybody.
It's not a scene that sets up a sequel. It's literally a fun Easter egg. That's
Although I will say the theatrical cut, I don't like how the theatrical cut. I like the theatrical cut better overall, but I don't like how it ends. Like he just gets carried away on the shoulders and it just fades like really quick. Like you know what I mean? Like it just seems like the movie doesn't have a real ending or something.
That Rocky ending, he goes out on top.
Yeah.
Baby. They should have freeze framed on his face.
I guess you should say
it should have had the Jacob's Ladder ending, and that explains why everything was so fucking unrealistic, and he was just like in his comatose and whatever.
He was dead the whole time.
He's a vegetable or whatever.
Macaulay Culkin comes down, fucking takes him up the ladder.
If I remember this right, the main thing I kind of remember as being in the extended but not the theatrical cut is the extended. It adds in the Lisa Simpson cameo, right?
Oh yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, she's definitely. I don't remember what she played, but I do remember that.
Well, like Arnold hears like, oh, this lady just left with the last Turbo Man, so he runs outside, and the guy says like, oh, she has such and such type of jacket on or coat.
I think she's driving the car that we don't see in this version, where he's chasing it in the back or something. Isn't she? Something like that.
Well, she's walking by and she has like a box in a bag, and he's like, oh, the fur coat, that's gotta be her. Which like, why would you think that's her? And he's like, I'll pay triple what you paid. And she's like, oh, okay. So he gives her the money, and then he opens the bag, and like it's actually booster or whatever. And then he's like,
yeah.
and then like a little crybaby pussy, he just paid $90 for a booster doll. He throws it in the trash. I'm like, dude, you paid 3 times going rate for a figure that's everywhere. Give that to your fucking kid. Like, no, I gotta throw it in the trash. It's not good enough. $90 down the drain. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I don't know that. Everybody wanted, like, they had Booster and Droz, but when I was a kid, like, yeah, maybe I wanted Tommy the most, but
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to have had somebody else. Like, I like the Power Rangers so much to where, yeah, I wanted, like, I was a little boy, so I wanted the guys first, but you know what? I eventually did want to get the Pink and Yellow Ranger just to round it out, right?
You want to have the whole set, and like in that scene, whenever you find out that the booster, no one wants it. If you look in the background, you can see the Dementor action figure too.
Yeah, I was
No
gonna say
one
the
talks
bad
about
guy.
it.
Like, what's the point? Like, I don't get the point of having just one doll from a toy line. Like, don't you need them all to kind of play out the stories and shit as a kid? You know?
Yeah. Not if you're my grandmother. They were like hardcore like Baptist, and they never let I got around it because I never always lived with them, but my little brothers, when we lived with them, they were never allowed to have the bad guys because it was like, I don't know, representing evil, and they were like, so.
Ugh.
Yeah, so like he could have Batman and Robin, but he couldn't buy the Riddler or Two-Face when Batman Forever came out. So you had to play Batman versus Robin, like, oh, we're training or something. And
That's lame.
and I remember when the Phantom Menace came out, my little brother Dylan, he wanted Darth Maul so bad, and they were out shopping, and he showed her, and she just looked at it, and I swear her soul left her body for a second, and she just went, Satan!
Yeah, I could see that with Darth Maul.
You should have been like, bitch, that's a juggalo. They're down with Christ.
But
Juggalos are
it
down
was
with Christ.
so funny, man. It was just like that, yeah, growing up and like that. But I don't know. Toys, man. I have on the topic of toys, man. So I've never sold anything. This is my first time ever selling anything because I want to
Keep that shit, Aaron. Keep it.
I kind of want to force myself. I'm torn, man. Part of me wants to force myself out of that comfort zone and be like, Aaron, you're at an age now. Sell the shit you don't like and just keep the stuff you like. Because okay,
You don't like Turbo Man?
Yeah, come on, dude. Turbo Man.
Let me show you. Okay, I'm a big Turtles fan, right? I'm not selling any of my Turtles memorabilia, right? Because the Turtles shit, I will make room. It will be displayed. But the Turbo Man, I was looking at it. I'm like, man, I've had this thing for years now, and it's literally never left a box in storage. And the only time I see it is when I move or whatever, you know. And so I'm like, am I really getting any joy out of this? And it's worth such and such. Maybe I should get rid of it. I mean, it's cool because I like the movie, but it's not Turtles. And now the Talk Boy, I have sentimental attachment there because, like I said, that was my favorite toy growing up. But I'm like, it's been in a box for years. Like, am I really getting any joy out of this? Am I going to take it out of the box? So I'm trying to force myself, you know, into that stage of my life where I don't need.
What if the guy that buys it from you takes it out of the box and comes on it? And
That's
all
his
I'm
right,
for.
as long as he pays me that fucking those greenbacks, man.
Yeah.
What if he comes on it and then sends it back to you?
But speaking of, I guess I'll clean it and I'll sell it again. But like I'm now at the stage I never used to open stuff, and now I'm glad because I'm selling it. And I only think I want the toys now that I'm happy opening because I don't want to sell, you know? And And I have, I don't want to sell anything sentimental. That especially, like I said, it has to be like fucking Talk Boy numbers for me to consider it. But like, I have a talking Lord Zed from the Power Rangers. I was a huge Power Rangers fan, and I wanted that fucking thing so bad. And I have that in the box, and it doesn't go for like a lot of money. It goes for about $50. And you know, after you ship it and everything else, I'm not gonna make that much money, and I fucking love it. It's like it's not worth it. I'd rather keep.
You think the guy, our boy Sam Yeager, who designed Freddy Krueger in Part 2, where he pulls the top of his head off and says, "You got the body and I got the brain," you think he tried to sue him for Lord Zed?
One
probably.
thing. Oh, speaking of Freddy, man, I have the Jackie O'Harley Freddy, like the NECA. I buy shit when I get it on the cheap, man. Like everything I have, by the way, I acquire like at flea markets back in the glory days.
Sell that shit.
I did. I got that online right now. That motherfucker goes for like upwards of $50, and I got it for like $1. The thing is these NECA collectors, nobody likes that movie, but they're NECA fans. They want to collect the NECA because it's a NECA.
Yeah.
And that I have no problem selling because I'm kind of embarrassed to own it, but And I have these like gremlin NECAs that I bought at a Suncoast Video for $3.99 on clearance like 5 years ago. And I'm always picking up shit on clearance. I'm always cruising the clearance racks, even if I just got to stow them away for a while and hoard it. It's a Lenny and a George from Gremlins 2, right? And they're real tiny NECAs, dude. Those fuckers are going for, one of them's like up past 100. It'll probably end up fetching 180. The other one will probably catch like 120. Those are really fucking rad because I love Gremlins too, but I'm like, I don't get any joy out of it. So I don't know. I don't know if I should hoard shit or not, but
see, like I've never sold any of my shit either. Like the closest thing I could say is like when I had to, clean out my dad's house a couple years ago, I had to like let some shit go, and it was more the shit that was like in a million pieces. And if I wanted to search, I mean, some shit I did. I kept my Ninja Turtles even though they were missing a lot of pieces. I let the G.I. Joe goes because they were so in a million pieces. I kept the Transformers, and I actually kept. Obviously, I kept all my Star Wars, and I kept Mask. Those are like the main 4 toy lines I kept. But like that other shit, even though it was in pieces and it had been in pieces for years, and I needed to put it all back together and stuff, like it still sucks not having that shit. Because like I guess that's different because those are the ones I grew up playing with and shit.
Yeah.
But if you can afford to keep your shit, like your Turbo Man, I guess it all comes down to how much you like this movie. Like, I would just, like, it would be donk, like, one day if you had, like, a cool home theater and you had the Turbo Man, like, sitting on a shelf somewhere. Because to me, that's, like, a movie prop, even though it's not literally a movie prop, it's, like, whatever. The Talk Boy, I get it's a movie tie-in thing, but that's a little bit different, like...
Well, that was a prop in the movie, was it not? It was a main plot mover. But
like you said, they sold it separate, too, so it's kind of just, like, whatever.
Whether or not it was before or after, I don't know. But yeah,
how limited was the Talk Boy?
Enough to where they're going for 1,000 to 1,200. I don't know. Yeah. It must be the deluxe one that's limited. I have no clue, but I would imagine it's got to be in the box. If you have one out of the box, it goes down to like 200-300. So the box on that fucking makes all the difference.
Yeah, I personally I would say like, do you need the money? Because I mean, it's like even if you sold every piece of whatever valuable little thing you had, it would be a nice chunk of change. But it's like,
or do you need the free space?
Yeah.
No, we'll see.
Even if you don't need the money, like at some point you could need the money, and the longer you wait, the probably more up in value is going to go.
So here's so who knows? So the thing is I'm moving into a bigger house, so I'm going to have more space now. Tons of closet
I would
space.
keep everything.
Yeah, it's just it's weighing on my soul a little bit, and I'm starting to have remorse, and I might cancel everything. But I told myself if I can get to the stage where I just kind of get, somebody wrote a book about it, but you take all the shit you own and look at it and create 2 piles. Like basically, you look at something and say, is this bringing me happiness? And if it doesn't, you put it in the anti-happiness pile and you get rid of it. And if I were to talk the toys that I would never sell, I won't sell turtles because I love the turtles. I won't sell.
I mean, that's the thing though. Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of parents that at some point when their kids being really fucking shitty, they look at them like, "You're not bringing me happiness right now." But like, we would shit on.
Yeah, that happiness pile of shit is dog shit, and I'll tell you why. That's for people who live in 1,200 square foot, like whatever. Like right now, my house is we've been renting this house for a number of years. It's really not so much that we can't buy a house; we can't find a house that we like, but it's like, yeah, it sucks because I can't have all my shit. My shit's all in boxes and it's all piled up and it's whatever. But the second I get that house that has the square footage and the room layouts that I need to put, like all this shit is coming out of boxes, dude. Like it's all going to be displayed. And it just,
I think you're selling me because it's so funny. And I was kind of thinking about this before we started recording, but the reason why all the shit was in boxes is because I never had adequate space.
Yep.
And, this new house I'm moving into is like 2,800 square feet. It's it's just me and the lady, so it's like it's tons of storage space. Tons of storage space if I want to put shit up. But and 5 bedrooms, so I now have the space. It's like, why am I now? I'm now moving in the place where I'm literally gonna have a work office. I'm gonna have like a podcast writing room. I'm gonna have all these extra bedrooms where I could make into hobby rooms. And I'm like, now why am I wanting to sell this shit now that I'm gonna have like space?
To me, it's the dumbest time to sell. I mean, unless you have a problem with cash flow, I get it. Practicality comes over, but I'm just talking about sentimental shit, and it's just like
I'd say at least wait till you're in the house, you have the stuff there, and then like once everything's out, and it's like, oh, now, yeah, there are some things I could consider clutter. Like you could sell like the cluttery shit.
Maybe like that Jack or Haley, but maybe I should. Well, see, it's not. I always figured this is good rainy day stuff. Like if I ever really needed it, but I do have a good job and I have the cash inflow come. My only reasoning was I'm moving into this house and it's very expensive. Like when you're transitioning, you're buying a new house, and also, so I'm like, you know what? Like we want to do all this stuff. And you know, you move into a new house, you're gonna have to do some furnishings and shit like that. Like I'm gonna have to put some shit on a credit card. There's just no way around it. Like I can't put down all this money on a new house and then fucking not furnish these extra. It's gonna happen, and I'm gonna have a little debt for the year, but I'll get it paid off. I have good cash flow. So I'm like, so I just thought, I was like, you know what? I want to do this and that. Like if I literally sell just those two fucking items, it'll pay for this, you know? And I was just thinking of it like that, but maybe I should just save it for that rainy day I hope never comes. I always told myself, like, man, sometimes the shit hits the bricks and you get laid off. And it's like, fuck, I'm having a bad year. Now I'm going to cash in this $5,000 hoard of toys I have. Or, you know, or like, God forbid, someone gets sick and you really need money. So maybe I should, man. I'm starting to think otherwise. But outside of that, the things I would never sell, turtles. I'm not really. I'm so sick of the movies at this point, to be honest with you, but I would never sell my Marvel action figures because I love my Marvel toys. I love my Marvel toys. In fact, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite toy, it was a 90s line, so you might be a little too old. They had the Planet of the Symbiotes line.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, where they started doing like Riot and all these offshoot symbiotes and shit like that from that line.
And all the female ones. And shit.
Yeah. And also, I wanted the Venom so bad, and I remember I wanted it so bad. I used to go to KB Toys and I just look at it and just like drool all over the box because that toy looks so fucking BA, man. And I remember my mom got it for me and it was under the tree, and I knew the shape of it because I studied it, and it was just wrapped. And I'm like, I just want. So that has, and I remember my dad had a bad drug problem, and so like anything we ever got, he pawned like the couple days after, right? Because he went on binges. And then my mom, she did the sweetest thing in the world, man. After my dad died, my dad didn't really believe in like buying presents and shit like that. And so the buck stopped at a certain point with like the childhood stuff. And my mom, classic manipulated spouse. She just kind of like fed into whatever my dad made her do. But when he died, she told me, he's like, you know what? The weirdest thing, this is going to sound terrible, but when your dad died, I felt like a spell broke. And she instantly felt bad for all this stuff. And so for a couple years after she died, she just started buying me all my favorite toys again for Christmas as an adult.
Wow.
And she bought me that Venom. She went on eBay and it's in the box. And I love that toy. And, you know, it goes for about 50 or 60. And I love that toy so much that I want to buy another one that's outside of the box. I can get it for like 20, 30 so I can put it on display, and I want the one in the box. So
I thought you were going to buy another one to come on it.
I love the 90s X-Men shit, man. I've got like the Days of Future Past. They had a whole 90s. Yeah, I would do that. Days of Futures Past, I have like all those. And I have like this fucking 24-inch Sentinel that's just totally badass. Like, I just love it, man. And I would never sell Power Ranger stuff because I love all the new shit they're putting out for Power Rangers. I think toys, they're way cooler now. Like now they're aimed at adults, right? All these companies are making more collectibles. They're not toys, they're collectibles. I'm all about it, man, because you know, I love my turtle shit, but I have like a giant turtles from the 80s. It doesn't look that good. It looks like an 80s giant turtle. It's nowhere near as cool as my NECA TMNT 90 statues I'm looking at. So there's a place for both.
You ever take that turtle? You ever take that big giant turtle and put it in a police cop chokehold? Y'all see it? Police cop chokehold? Remember that video?
No.
No.
But anyway, I don't want to run your podcast on too long, but yeah, that's my piece on the toy. I think you've sold me. I think.
Well, I'll put it this way, and this is the way I think, because I'm also sitting on a stockpile of things, and you know, some of it mine, and some of it that was my dad's and whatever, and I'm gonna part with a tiny portion of it, like probably like 5 to 10% of the stockpile I'm sitting on. And most of that has to do with just having similar items that are similar to it or whatever. But in general, this is what I say. Like, I know money is money and it's hard to make money. And believe me, like, nobody knows how hard it's to make money. Like when I was like 31 years old, I was scraping human feces off the wall at Best Buy. So I know how hard it is to make a buck. But now
I do that for free.
You do that for free, Zach?
I do.
Okay. But anyway, what I'm getting at is now, you know, it's whatever. I can't remember how long I've been at my current job now. I think it will be 13 years in April. You know, been working a real job now for 13 years finally after for decades working shit jobs. And it's like, I don't need the money I mean, everybody needs money. I need money. I need money if I ever want to buy a new car. I need money if we're ever going to actually buy a house the size that I want. But right now, this second, like, I don't need an extra $500. I don't need an extra $1,000. So the way I look at it is, I can make another $1,000. I mean, I will make another $1,000. You know, just keep working. Don't quit my job. But I'll never get the shit back that I'll sell for that $1,000 or however much it is that you're selling. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
that's a good point.
You can make another $200, dude, but or whatever. Like just like the Urkel doll. It's like Urkel doll ain't worth that much money. You can make another $40-$50, but you can never. I mean, you can technically go get another Urkel doll after you sell yours, but what would the point be? You already had it and you let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're right. There might be a time where Turbo Mans aren't so hot. Maybe that 20,000 is going to whittle down to like how many of those are going to end up in landfills or flooded out, and you know maybe there's not 20,000 anymore. That's for sure, right? I feel you, and I have the same thing. I have a retro game collection that is worth quite a pretty penny too, and I look at that stuff and I'm like, it really is just decor because you know it's like a Spotify. I now have like mini consoles that are emulation boxes that have all those games at my disposal. I have like a little boxes I can turn on that'll be actually formatted to my HD TVs, and it's got 2,000 retro games loaded onto it. So I'm really not playing my cartridges anymore, but I love looking at it. I love looking at and you know what? You can make the argument, right? There's the argument of material possessions and just like, and I've been there too. I traveled and I used to just like fucking just purge most of my shit, and it felt so good to have nothing. But at the same time, you can make the argument, you know, look, money, you know, life is finite. Money, you can make more, like I said, if you're in a certain situation. And yeah, you could sit there and rag on all these people that are going out and fish in a barrel. They're just taking the bait and they're buying a collector's edition of the same movie for the 5th time. But in a way, this stuff makes some people happy. Because
it makes me happy, dude. That's why I spend so much money every month on Blu-rays, and I've heard people tell, you know, to all that. So whereas like, you don't understand, like, all the shit that you do, it's cool that it makes you happy. It don't make me happy. Buying movies, getting a movie, watching it, that makes me happy.
And even just like collecting it. So it's like, and you could argue, it's like when you walk into someone's house, you could tell a lot by that person by looking at what they collect. Yeah. Right. It's like, oh, this is this type of person. This is what he values. So yeah, it's this kind of weird argument you can make, but it's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, what else are we here for? I mean, we're going to die. We're making money. And if you get rid of all material possessions, if that's your thing, great. But then you're really just living to work. Like, why are we're working? Exactly. Working, spend your money to a degree, be responsible, save, but enjoy
don't blow your money, but
don't, you know. I mean, but don't, I guess you can collect shit and have stuff that you enjoy just possessing and not have that mentality of, I get it. It's not going to go with me when I die.
Right.
I get it. Like, I mean, I'm enjoying my time on this earth, and maybe it would be nice to leave stuff to my kids. Right. Like, hey, this was my favorite toy growing up.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, you know, like I have like musical instruments and stuff that were my dad's, you know, like I can still play them. I can still do whatever I want. They're worth X amount of dollars, but to me they're priceless because they're my dad's. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like like in all my years of like whatever in life, like the only thing I really ever sold, I sold one pair of shoes. I have a big shoe collection. I sold one pair of shoes because it was shoes of a player I didn't like, so I sold them. Unless it's something that you look at it and you're like, I don't like this for X amount of reason. You know, people got real caught up in that Chuck Palahniuk Fight Club shit. The shit you own ends up owning you. It's like, yeah, that's cool. And to be fair, like I probably owned half the amount of shit 20 years ago that I own now. But I think I'm actually happier now owning all this shit, in all honesty. And I get the second I die, and whether I have kids or not, or whoever I pass along to, like, I'm fine with all the shit that I treasure ending up in a fucking trash dump somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. If somebody wants to take the shit or want to sell the shit for pennies on the dollar or just throw it all into the fucking trash. All my Blu-rays, all my DVDs, everybody, oh, physical media is garbage. I can stream this. I can do this. That's great. But to me, like, this shit's worth something. And, like, the second I die, I'll be dead. It won't matter anyway. You can burn all this shit for all I care. But it's like you said, life is finite, dude. Enjoy it while you can.
A lot of people have their things, right? Like, for some people, it's vinyl and or whatever. And there's something I don't know. It's a hobby. It's fun to collect certain things, and like I said, I miss I miss the pre even like boomers and everything else knowing how to work a smartphone, because I used to, on my days off on the weekends, every weekend I would hit up my favorite flea markets and pawn shops, and I loved it. I'd spend hours on my favorite flea markets, and it was okay if I didn't find anything. Most of the times you didn't, but it was so much fun looking for that diamond in the rough. And some people would even argue, I mean, by the time you find something that's kind of a halfway decent deal, you've wasted so much gas money over the weeks, or you wasted so much of your time. I'm like, but I enjoy it. Like,
exactly.
I enjoy talking to the people at the booths and just making the circuits. And I love looking, and I love it's the same reason why some people love to grocery shop, that ritual of just kind of being in your own space and your own head. It was so tranquil, dude, because I do it by myself. Nobody else would have the patience to go out all day like I wanted to do on a Saturday. And it was just so much fun. And yeah, man, I'm not going to get bent out of shape about it, because, I mean, it's one of those, it's a pleasure. It's a life pleasure. I mean, like, what else? So,
yeah.
If somebody likes going to yoga every weekend, man, I mean, maybe that's my going out and, surfing the fucking pawn shops or whatever. But
yeah, dude, like I don't buy vinyl, but I totally get why people do, and I support it. And that's another weird side thing is, like, here's me holding my Blu-ray I just bought, and somebody's like, oh, that's so disgusting. A film on a disc in a plastic case. Ugh, I don't own anything. But, like, they never say that to the people who buy vinyl. You never, like, the second you grab a Blu-ray off the shelf, physical media is dying. There's always some smart-ass, physical media is dying. They never say that to people. Like, vinyl is the oldest fucking shit in the world. It's the oldest, most outdated technology. But nobody says shit to people who buy vinyl. Why is that? Like, I mean, I'm glad they don't. Don't harass them. They're buying a fucking piece of vinyl because it brings them happiness and they like hearing the music. But it's like, have you noticed that? Like, what's with these weird... like, we live in this weird time, and I don't want to get too much in a rant, but it's like, we always have to suck the dick of the latest technology and claim it's better than everything else. But then there's like some things, it's just like, well, dude, why are you sitting there eating a steak? Don't you see they sell that Soylent shit at the supermarket? You just suck some weird gel out of a tube and that's your dinner for the night. Why cook a steak? You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, it's like we are living, breathing animals. And there's so many moments of unhappiness. So many moments of unhappiness. Like, why are we doing this podcast? This podcast is costing me money. I just got the bill, another $108 a year to host this podcast that I never make a penny from. Why would I do it? Hey guys, let's just turn off the recording now. There's no point in doing this. It's like, because we like fucking doing it. Like, while I was working all day with my job that pays me money, I was waiting to get off to do this with you guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, stop chasing the weird IKEA way of life. You know what I mean?
My buddy Pat, Zach, that you know of, he's a huge vinyl guy. And, he makes those jokes about, like, oh, his wife, like, oh, God, when she sees my vinyl bill, those, like, married jokes. I mean, but he gets so much joy when he gets that new vinyl in the mail that he ordered, or he found a good deal on Discogs or whatever. And, like, even who cares? He's not even thinking about it flipping. He just loves it. Even if, like, that thing is lost value the second he purchased it, it was probably worth the joy he got of looking forward to it all day. Like, he works his job, he pays his taxes. Just the fact that I have all week to look forward to a package coming in the mail, and he gets to open it and just appreciate it. And he actually listens to it. Me, I'm afraid to get into vinyl because I would go hard onto it. So it's like, I don't need another vice. But I appreciate vinyl, but I'm one of those guys where, come on, let's be real. They don't sound nearly as good as CDs. What are you guys fucking smoking? But they're beautiful. Vinyls are so beautiful, and I love it. So, but yeah, I mean, like, why does that not have value? Even if I didn't want to listen to it, why is not just looking forward to it and just the gotta catch 'em all mentality not worth it? I mean, but a lot of people that collect shit, like I know within the retro game community, it seems like it always happens, man. People just spend years and years and years collecting like every NES cart, like all 822 NES carts, and they'll complete a certain collection, and then they've reached the top and there's nowhere else to go, and they'll be like, and they'll sell it all, and a lot of them will start over on something else. Like, well, I'm going to move on to so I haven't hit that yet, but that the whole collect and trade mentality and always like binging and purging shit. But I don't know. Some people are all about that.
That's a weird way to look at collecting. It's like, oh, it's a thing I gotta. There's an end goal, and then once I reach it, I'm done.
Yeah, that's very bizarre. Like, I mean, literally, literally in the during the pandemic, because I went crazy, like, just buying Blu-rays and stuff, and because there was nothing else to do. Like, I couldn't take a trip anywhere. I couldn't go to any more basketball games. And it's just like, I'm kind of at the point where now I have to think about space of shit, but that's just a temporary problem. So it's like the first time I really thought about like, you know, when I go through and I'm buying stuff on the cheap, you know, it's like, should I buy, you know, 7 movies instead of 12, you know, because then it'll just be in a pile of whatever because I run out of shelf space. But it's like, other than those, like that actual physical concern, you know, and like some people just walk in and puke in my house. They see so many. I have seen people freak out, be like, "Oh, you still got all these movies and shit," and it's just like, yeah, and like you can't watch really 3/4 of these movies on streaming. So it's like they serve a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, like whether that purpose be functional and you listening to the music, watching the movie, or just the function of it is just you're happy that you have it. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say, when I moved to Arizona from Missouri, I sold, or I traded in all my VHS collection, all my DVDs that I'd acquired, and it was quite a lot. And I didn't feel as bad that I did. Well, it just, to ship all those and to bring all those with me, it was going to cost an absorbent amount of money. So it's like, it was one of those things that I felt like I had to do. I obviously kept some DVDs that at the time were not on any other format or out of print, you know, like a select few things. But I'm like, I didn't feel as bad after that, to be honest with you. But maybe because I felt like, I don't know, if I had a Blu-ray version, especially if I had a Blu-ray version, like I don't need a DVD. I guess I had that mentality, like, okay, I can cut this off here. But I don't know.
To me, that's a little bit different with movies, though, because well, I mean, they keep telling us 4K is the last physical format. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
I kind of think it is, but yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. Like with VHS, DVD, at least that point in history when you were selling those and trading them, you knew, you know. I mean, there's some movies that just got stuck only ever on VHS, only ever on Laserdisc. But for the most part, you knew there was at least a chance that you could reacquire those movies. And you know, like there's some DVDs I have that. A lot of them I rebought on Blu-ray, and some of them I just never did because I'm like, well, I don't watch. You know, I bought this, I watched it. You know, back when my collection was smaller, I would rewatch stuff a lot more, and I'm kind of like not over this movie, but I kind of wore this movie out on DVD. I don't need to rebuy it on Blu-ray because if I get the Blu-ray, I'm just going to watch it once more. You know, so I'll just keep the DVD or whatever. But like, yeah, like, and that's what scares me about the whole, you know, in general, I don't have a lot of the fears that a lot of the physical collectors do about digital. I just don't think it's very good, in all honesty. And the reason I say it's not very good is it's like, it would be so hard for me if I got rid of my physical collection and I wanted to see this movie. Or, like, to me, it's about choice. If I wanted to go find this movie or that movie, like, it's hard. Like, where is it? Is it something I subscribe to? Is it something you have to buy separately? There's a lot of movies. I couldn't find Jingle All the Way streaming anywhere. I had to order the Blu-ray. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, to me, the movie thing, like, when people say physical media is going away, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess tell that to, like, you know, Severin and Vinegar Syndrome. Like, I'll be fine if all the major studios drop it because they're just going to license their shit out to the smaller companies and they'll put it out anyway, you know? So,
yeah. Well, you know, on the toys, to wrap it up, I've always had that mentality of like, I don't need to sell this stuff. So why am I doing it right now?
Right.
Why? To speed up the debt I'll have to pay off by a couple of months.
Yeah.
Over the next year. Like, putting it in perspective now, maybe it is kind of silly.
Here's what you should do. This is a genius thing. This is the Chad move.
Give it away to
a
you.
credit card, get all the debt, and then file for bankruptcy. Chad.
Big Chad. No, dude, if you were like, should I sell my Turboman so my kid can get braces? I would say do it. Because, like, there's money that's well spent. Like perfect example, like it sucks that some things are expensive. Like, I hate it when I have to pay for something like I really don't want. You know, but it's just like a lifestyle thing. I was like, oh, this sucks. I got to pay X amount of dollars for this. But like certain things, like, you know, like when I've had pets and I've had sick animals and they needed medical treatment to get over things, that to me, that was always money well spent. You know what I mean? And and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't need the money for a good cause right now,
I've never hit that wall where it's like, oh God, I need money, or like these mafiosos are going to break my fucking thumbs.
Exactly.
I've never had that moment, you know, because like you said, and you're putting it in perspective, I can just make more, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, and I think essentially that's all this is really going to do is speed up. Like, yeah, like in a year I would have remorse. Like, well, fuck, man, I already made 10 times fold that. Like, why? I just wish I had those toys again. Yeah, so. You know, I think you're pretty much.
Aaron, I would bet that somebody who is ready to pay $800,000 for a Turbo Man, I bet probably somebody's willing to pay that much. It's not because they're such a Jingle All the Way fan, dude. They probably had that toy as a kid, and then something happened to it, and they want it back. You know what I mean?
Wait, are you trying to sell me on giving it to him?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying you will be that person once you sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I'm starting to think I don't even I instruments, like I've never. A lot of people in the instrument community. I got a buddy, man. He fucking changes and flips guitars more than I do my underwear. And I'm more of a less is more person, but I have every guitar I've ever owned.
Yeah.
And it's like whenever I want another one, I might invest, but I don't have a heart to sell some of these, you know. But I mean, I guess if I really fucking hated the guitar, I would sell it. But
yeah,
I own stuff because I like it. You know, yeah. I don't.
Yeah, sell the shit you don't like. Fucking the stuff you like. You get rid of that Jackie Earle Haley shit.
Yeah, like that I could, you know. But even then, it's like if I decide to take everything off the market, like we're talking about, and I just have that shitty bootleg Freddy, I'm like, well, now it's like, is it even worth my time to go all the way to the post office and wait in these lines by the time that auction ends? Because it's gonna be shit when the auction ends. Still,
yeah,
maybe not.
Just give the Jackie Earle Haley away.
People want, dude, fucking blow me. It blows me away to look every couple of years what certain things are worth, just for fun, and it's always the least expecting thing. Like, this is worth more than all this shit. Like, it blows me away. But yeah.
Anyway. But usually when garbage is worth a lot, it's only worth a lot because it's scarce. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. No. I get you. I feel you.
Yeah, like when I need extra room, I have no problem selling like a fucking Blu-ray or a DVD that I have, like, you know, like I usually sell DVDs that I have the Blu-ray of. It's like I don't need this anymore. But I can't imagine like fucking a movie I actually like that's like out of print, like selling that. Like I would just be like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Sell one I don't like.
That's why, you know, I bought, you know, Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray when it was like, you know, whatever it cost. I think it was like $18 or something.
I have it too. I bought it for like $9 at Target.
And then it always goes for like $75. It's like, oh, that's cool. I can sell my old used copy of Dawn of the Dead. But I'm like, it's still one of my top 10 favorite movies. What am I going to do with that extra $50 profit that you know what I mean? Like,
I think I was getting influenced by Riverman because he kind of went through this period where he started purging everything. And this is actually an interesting social thing because last year, 2 years ago, remember Zach, when he was like giving you or like selling you stuff or giving you stuff, right? He just decided, like, I just want to get rid of shit. And he's like, I'm only going to keep the stuff I like. And he what?
You know what happened to Riverman? He started buying shit up again.
Yeah, that's the end here. Let me tell you where this goes. So a couple years ago, he went through this phase where he sold off all his one sheets, but he kept a couple. He's like, you know, I'm gonna keep my Trick or Treat one sheet because I like that movie. I'm gonna keep my Top Gun. By the way, he ended up giving me the Trick or Treat poster, so he even whittled down more. But like, and then but he sold off all these movies. He went to the conventions. He unloaded all his fucking movies and shit. And but he kept every version of Dawn of the Dead because he always collected every VHS copy he wanted. He loves Dawn of the Dead, so he didn't sell any of that. And he's since bought a Dawn of the Dead one sheet, and he's always kind of went to this place of, I just want the shit that I like. But yeah, this year, I don't know what it is, but now he's like hooked on buying physical shit again, and he's just been buying like crazy, and he's got the bug again. And he
had that fucking Trick or Treat shaped hole in his heart.
So I don't know what it is, man. It's like, does he have remorse? Is it all just going to come back if I sell everything and I'll be like, well, I was going to buy it again? If that's the case, I'm just going to end up losing money anyway. I might as well just keep it.
Yeah, dude, you're going to, you know, with me, the shit that I lost that I had as a kid, a lot of it was stuff broke. And it wasn't much shit. Like my favorite thing was I had like the big Gremlin, and the arm broke off of it, and it just kind of like, I really don't know what happened. I'm assuming because I'm saying with my Millennium Falcon, anything that was broken, my mom would get rid of, and somehow she would do it secretly. But I mean, I have 95% of the toys, or I did have, I should say, you know, up until a couple years ago that I had. But it's like those few little things that it wasn't even like my fault. Like I didn't get rid of the shit, I didn't whatever. But it's like those few things that like somehow disappeared just because they were broke. And it wasn't like my fault. I broke it. Actually, a kid at my baseball game. Baseball practice broke the arm off the Gremlin, but Yeah, and like I had a raincourt monster, which the arm fell off just because it was held together inside by rubber bands, so they dry rot, it fell off. Like all that shit disappeared over the years once it got broke. Like I was just like, whatever, I'll just glue it together one day and the arm won't move anymore, but I'll have the toy. But it's like, dude, like there's so many times I've almost rebought that Gremlin. And I kind of want to, but then at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, it'll never be the same. It'll never be the one that I had. You know what I mean? But just in general, it's like that feeling of loss, man. It sucks, you know?
And what's funny too is like maybe I know I don't want to sell when I was thinking about buying some more toys. You know, I was thinking, Zach, I was like, unloading all this shit on eBay, and I was thinking, God, I wonder how much those Primal Rage action figures are going for. Because I look every few years, and I'm like, because I want to like buy those again because they had those Primal Rage action figures from that video.
Those
game,
were cool.
They were. And it was funny for a game that really didn't take off. They spent this money on this toy line that was totally badass. Same thing with the Street Sharks, man. I would love to get those Street Shark toys.
Dude, I wish I would have bought at the time, and I just didn't because I was older and I didn't want to spend X amount of dollars on toys. But I wish I would have bought the big Starship Trooper bug. You know what I mean? The main one. The arachnid looking thing.
Yeah. Zach, I have one thing I was considering. I was looking through a lot of my toys, just kind of seeing what they're valued. Like, okay, is this worth it? Not worth it. I like this. I was making different piles, or definitely won't sell pile. And I have a Mortal Kombat trilogy. Remember they had the G.I. Joe Mortal Kombat trilogies? Like action figures. Okay, so they also released a 13-inch line, and they released 8, and I have all those. And it's funny because I look at them and I'm like, man, they've released more pro-looking lines in the last few years. Like with the last, like they look like toys they look better these days. They look fucking awesome. Like
they do look good.
I look at all these toys and the NECA shit, and even the McFarlane at a certain point when they were like on top of the world. I used to look and I'd be like, man, I wish I was a kid now. Like you kids are so fucking now they're charging an arm and a leg for toys now. Yeah. But like, dude, like they just look so much better. And I have these Mortal Kombat trilogy toys in the boxes and they really don't look good. Like the models, the faces look like shit. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, they're so cool. The boxes are so fucking cool, man. They look so fucking awesome. And I'm like, you know what? I know I could just sell these and then invest those into like the nicer, newer ones that look awesome. But I'm like, I don't know.
It wouldn't be the same. You wouldn't feel the same. Like even though it'd be a 10 times better toy, you wouldn't get the same feeling when you saw that sitting on your shelf as you do the old
I don't
ones.
know. I love like I said, my quarter scale TMNT NECAs, and I can't wait till Splinter gets released as a quarter scale, and Casey Jones, and I guess April I have to get to complete it. But those are different. I don't look at these as I look at these as like, dude, those are I open those. I'm never gonna sell those. Those are on display out of the box. They're fucking awesome. I'm gonna get a legit fucking light up case when I get in the house. And but there's some stuff I don't want to take out of the box, you know. So I don't know. I'm kind of picky and choosy there, but I look at them differently. Like I love those just as much for how articulate they are and how fucking they look just like the models in the movies. So that's cool too. Like there's something nice about that and my shitty 1980s turtles, you know? So
did you ever get the MC Ren and Dr. Dre and Easy fucking NECA figures under the new line NECAs with Attitude?
That was a good one. I don't know if that paid off, that setup, man.
Fuck.
Easy is my boy, and he's coming straight out of NECA.
Straight out of NECA. Riverman bought me a Mattel looking. It almost looks like a Barbie doll, but like it's a Mattel looking Barbie doll-esque Scott Ian like doll. It's very interesting. Wow. I don't know where he got it, but he sent it to me for my birthday one year, and I'm looking at that right now.
Speaking of NECA, I watched one of their videos on YouTube or somewhere. It was like some girl showing one of their new products, and I guess I should know it since it has the dots, but like how we all call it NECA, like they actually call it NECA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew that was coming. If your abbreviations actually spell out a word that you can enunciate, people are going to call it that.
Yeah, exactly.
What if they pronounce it neek? Remember that? Like at the end of those
Deek.
Deek. Yeah, Deek.
Yeah. We don't go around calling that one gym Mka.
Yeah.
It's fun to be at the Mka.
It's like we all know it's not Deek, it's Dick.
Yeah, I know he used to do that too, but anyway, that's cool, man. I like how this turned into a toy podcast. I fucking love it.
Yeah, and honestly too, like I know we rambled on like a good half hour, 45 minutes after the movie, but I think this conversation kind of honestly did fit the theme for the most part of the movie. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, and it just happened to. I think it's just a fun coincidence that I not only had a Turbo Man, but I listed it and we got into this whole eBay talk as we already planned to do this commentary.
You know what's funny too is I guarantee Jacob Lloyd is kicking himself that he didn't fucking go ahead and take that special edition Turbo Man doll.
That would have been
Yeah.
a crack rock or two for sure. And what if the high bidder on my Turbo Man was listening to this show right now or something? I'm sorry, man. It's gonna get yanked.
See, I wasn't setting up a drug addiction joke. I was trying to take it back to the fact that like fucking Riverman sold off all of his shit. Now he wants it back. Fucking,
Well, I don't think Jake Lloyd's a drug addict. He's been
No, I know. Well,
schizophrenia,
I don't
and
think
he's supposedly
half of
doing
the-
better now. We wish him the best.
I don't think half the people Zach says are diddlers are really diddlers. I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
joking. Yeah. Zach's the king of slander. No, I feel like I'm gonna break some hearts, but it is what it is. Like I get all these messages, dude, and some of them are just so funny. Like I'll want to read a couple for you if you don't mind. This one guy, like the Turbo Man, mind you, when he sent me this message, it was already up to like 350 at this point in the bids, and it had like
he's this big of a Turbo Man fan. He might listen to this commentary.
Listen,
so don't be too bad on him.
Okay, it was already at like 350, had 6 days left and like a bajillion watchers, and he goes, I'm willing to pay 250 right now for this item in hopes to receive it before Christmas. I know you have it up for auction and my offer is lower than the current bid, but that auction will end too late for me to be able to get this gift where it needs to be in time. Then offer me more money. Like what?
Yeah, like I would like if I was doing what he's doing, I think he just wants a deal and he's trying to pull at the heartstrings. And I mean, even 250 is a lot to pay for a little doll, whatever. But like you can't be like take less money so I can get what I want. Like
That's exactly
in it early.
right.
Like you have to be careful. He probably just wanted to resell it and shit. But
no, dude, I am strictly business with this stuff. I mean, it's not personal. It's just business. But I would be like, it's $350 now. I'll give you $400. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be like, I'll give you $100 less. You know what I mean? He went, and then when it went higher, he goes, because I mean, I ignored him, and then like the next day it was even higher, and he's like, okay, well, I know the current bid is this. I'm willing to pay $350 for this item so it can be shipped and delivered to me by Christmas.
Then you told him to fuck off because you knew that was that damn old Loch Ness monster again. Try to get $350.
Exactly. So here, look. If it was really pulling at my heartstrings, and he was offering me $250 at the time when the bidding was at $350, and he acknowledged, hey, I know this is less, but why was he able to offer me $350 the next day?
Exactly, like 24 hours later. Yeah.
Just put a bid in, my friend.
He's trying to pull heartstrings, but they're not genuine heartstrings. He just wants to get that shit and resell it for twice as much.
Fuck, dude. Like, what did somebody so funny? Oh, somebody tried pulling the heartstring. This one I bought because I was selling an Alf doll too, which they're not worth much. But you know what? That was my first doll when I was a kid. I loved Alf. I used to sleep with it. But somebody gave me a message about, okay, hi, I'm looking for an Alf doll for my dad. My dad isn't doing too well, so I would love to get the doll ASAP if possible. Please let me know if the Alf is still available and if you'd be able to overnight him for me. I'm happy to pay whatever extra shipping costs. Thank you. But you don't try business. I'm not going to let any heartstrings. But
well, also too, I mean, heartstrings come into play with friends and family. Anybody can say anything over the phone, and if I was personally, for me, I've never sold anything through eBay. At one time, like way back in the day, I listed some DVDs that didn't sell. But eBay, even when you're just a buyer, they're like, don't go outside of eBay. And obviously that's because they want their cut of shit, and I get it. But I would be like nervous if everybody was like, let's do this deal on the down low. Like it's kind of like you need to protect yourself too. You know,
somebody my first day, I think that the Turbo Man went up or whatever. Somebody, I mean, there's no harm in trying. They messaged me, are you willing to accept $300 today with a heart emoji? Like no.
Ooh.
Like the fucking thing is like no, like I'm not stupid. Like I mean, these people that are making these offers, they know what they go for too. And you're right. Like I can't. Why would I trust anybody? I don't know them.
And here's the thing: anybody, like I get tired of everybody's so obsessed now with shitting on scalpers, whatever. It's like, listen, man, like nobody would overpay for this shit if they weren't fine with it. Like I've never been forced to pay for something I didn't want to pay for. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's
either you want to
line.
pay it or you don't.
There's a line there. I mean, the capitalism versus exploitation, and it depends on how much you're scalping for. I guess you could obviously argue, well, I did the grunt work. It was tough to get this, and I got it. Yeah, okay. I did that once. Like I got a PS4 and I regretted it. Like, I don't need a PS4. Like when they first came out, and they were hard like the PS5. They were like sold out for a long time. And I got one and I'm like, there's really no games. Like I don't ever adopt a console for actually a couple of years. And I think I just fed into the hype, and I realized there ain't no games out for this thing. Like, and there's probably not going to be for at least a year. And my buddy really wanted one I worked with, and he offered, and then I didn't turn it down. He gave me an extra $100. I'm like, well, I did go to the trouble of pre-ordering it. It was stressful, and I got it. I picked it up, and he didn't have to go through that because it's a pain in the ass getting through like on those, like some of that shit. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, that's respectable. Here you go, it's yours.
Well, yeah, I've taken shit.
And he was happy to do it, by the way, because it's like, I didn't have to fucking deal with any of the bullshit. I'll give you $100 extra.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different story. Like, that's if somebody offers you something, like if I walked in your house and you had something and I was like, hey, I'll give you $50 for that, and you're like, okay, sure. Like, to me, that's like no harm, no foul. Like I made the mistake of showing during YouTube videos that had multiple copies of movies or whatever, limited edition movies, and like some of it was just like, oh yeah, like it's cool. Like I got it. Like there was a while there, especially with Twilight Time Blu-rays, I bought one to watch and I bought one to keep sealed. And then like there was a couple there I bought extras because I know like this shit's gonna be rare. I know 3 or 4 people that want it. I'll give it to them as gifts. That one video, I can't remember which one, maybe it was Night of the Living Dead. I had my extra copies in the shot. Huh? I got so much shit. Well, guess what, fuckers? I never sold any of them. I never had any intention of selling them. You might think I'm an asshole because I bought up copies for my friends and family and for me to have an extra sealed copy. But you know what? Like you said, you did the legwork. I did the legwork. I knew the movie was coming out 3 months ahead of time. I pre-ordered. You know what I mean? Like there's a line. Like I would feel bad ripping somebody off that was like, oh shit, I need this for Christmas for my kids so bad. Like I wouldn't be like, give me triple, whatever. But I mean, there is to be something to be said that like shit goes on sale. Either you're the person who bought it or you didn't. You know what I mean?
And there's also the argument you can make for that too, where, some people really are hard up for cash, and this is an opportunity for them to make money, to be the early bird and with the intention of flipping shit for double or triple, and catching those people that are willing to pay it. I mean, like, who am I to say I make okay money? Who am I to knock on? When my dad died, my mom got really into like finding retro shit and flipping it. She got really into it, or buying shit that she started getting an eye for stuff that was going to be worth. She's actually pretty knowledgeable with it. And she was doing it. She was, and sometimes I would look at her like, man, I don't know if you're the enemy or what, but because sometimes it does. Like if it's something you like, because she was holding up, man, she'd have something I wanted. Like, man, you got an extra one? Can I have it? She'd be like, okay, yeah, this, and she'd give me the markup price. I'm like, fuck, mom, what?
The markup price?
Yeah, 100%. Dude, I got super pissed, dude.
That's why you tell her that you're gonna put her in a fucking home and then she just gives it to you.
I got so pissed, man. I would buy my kid brothers like certain games and shit, and I would find good deals on them, and they were games that were worth money. And then my mom found out how much they were worth, and she's like, well, these were games they really weren't playing anymore, and she like apprehended them and like flipped them, and she'd be bragging at me like, you know what I sold that for? I sold that for $450. I'm like, thanks, mom. I appreciate you telling me that. I know it's a gift and all, but you took it from him because he wasn't using it, and you flipped it like that. There's something there that doesn't seem right. Like that order of things. If my brother did, that's one thing, but it's like, okay.
Well, like I'll be said, I have a lot of stuff that either went out of print or is limited edition, and I was able to get. There's a lot of limited edition shit I wasn't able to get that I wanted. Personally, I hate limited edition. I don't hate scalpers. I hate limited edition shit. Like right now, what's going on with PS5 and all that. You know who I blame? Oh, the scalpers. People are making a living off of doing YouTube videos now, crying about scalpers every day. Yeah, it sucks we live in a world where you want to buy something for your kid for Christmas, something nice, you can't. You know who I blame for that? I blame Sony. I blame Microsoft, because they were the jerk-offs who, and I get it, we're in Pandemica, but the same thing happened with PS4, PS3, PS2. These fuckers can sit there and make warehouses full of them. They do this on purpose.
Yeah, so does Nintendo. Yeah, they make that false sense.
False yeah. Dude, I just had to like bite the bullet and fucking pay $60 for the Mario collection, which has fucking N64 games on it.
Oh, guess what? I bought 2 of them. I was one of those guys. I'm like, you know what? I just in case. I mean, we all know that after March 31st or whatever, they're just going to part them out digitally, each individually. But you know what? I really do think that maybe the physical won't be around anymore. I'm like, I want one I want one wrapped. I just want one.
I was just like, I just want to, you know, I bought one copy to play. I was like, normally with video games, I never pay full retail. And I was going to wait till, you know, there was like a little bit of a sale or something. But then I read that shit of they're like, oh, we're only making the game for 6 months. I'm like, I guess I got to buy it now. And it's like, I didn't feel great about it. I knew I was overpaying for something.
Yeah. I was still grandfathered into my gamers club unlocked with Best Buy. So I got 20% off of them. So I got them even cheaper. But, yeah, man. I regret.
Blame the companies, though.
You know what, though? You know what? You're right. So
they're anti-consumer.
Speaking of regretting selling stuff, when I was like, you know, that poor college kid or whatever, you know, I live in paycheck to paycheck before I moved out here and all that stuff. I did sell a couple of things, but they were duplicates, but they weren't really duplicates. And you might say this was excessive. I'm over it. It's not that big of a deal, but I had every iteration of Final Fantasy VII, which I fucking love Final Fantasy and I love that game. Yeah. So I had the black label. I had the greatest hits label. I like to have all of them. The greatest hits print. I had the black label, and the disc looked different too. But I had the first print ever, and this is so stupid. It was a black label, but it was known as having a typo, and it has a typo in the back. It's the stupidest, most trivial thing, but it's known in the community. I had all variants, and I sold off the greatest hits, and I sold off like the variant, and I kept one. And I'm like, you know what? I like now for the money I got, it really wasn't worth. I kind of wish I had all those. I kind of wish I had them again.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Because it's cool.
And you know, people that hate you because, like, I mean, I do feel bad for a kid or whatever. Like I mean, you know, that wants something for Christmas, they can't get it. But it's like, you'll get it for your birthday in 6 months or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
hard knocks, man. I mean, it's just life. You don't get shit.
Like you know, as long as you got a roof over your head and food to eat and shit, you're doing good, man.
So you know what I would tell that kid? I'd be like, some of us don't get Christmas, and when we do get that one present, finally, after not getting anything ever, your dad pawns it for crack 2 days later.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's always a flip side. I mean, we could go on and on. I actually find this type of topic, you know, we probably sound like the biggest dicks now to everybody. They're like, oh, they got multiple copies and they don't want to part with them. But it, like, you know, it's just like I won't even say I'm a capitalist, because other than one pair of shoes I didn't want anymore. Like, I've never sold anything ever, period. Never sold one movie, one video game, whatever. I mean, other than, you know, trading in video games at the store or whatever like that. Like,
it depends on what you value. I go into people's houses that have beautiful, gorgeous homes. They make shit tons of money, and they're totally happy with that 50-inch HD TV they bought 8 years ago.
Right.
Like, there's no reason to upgrade it because I can see the picture fine and it's not broke. But like me, I love movies, and I'm a video and audio file. I want to get I got nice ass TVs in my house, but I want to get even nicer when I move, you know. And I want to like upgrade to like Dolby Atmos. I want to dive into Atmos, right? And it's like, this is not shit that I need, and it's going to be stuff that will be outdated eventually and it'll get replaced again. But yeah, man, it's just what makes me happy.
Dude, I redid my audio. I was rocking an OLED, so I didn't need to upgrade the display, but I redid my audio for, you know, took advantage of the Black Friday prices. I redid it last year. No, I could have kept, you know, using my little, like, whatever, you know, whatever surround sound system I had since 2005, or I could spend X amount of dollars to redo my audio system. I did it. At first I was kind of like, is this better? Like, I mean, I really went from a $300 system to like a legit, you know, current generation technology system.
Some people don't give a shit about audio. Like, they don't care. Yeah. But I'm telling you, like, for me, like Zach, I was talking about, like Ghost in the Shell, right? I was talking about that on our podcast, dude. 75% of what makes that movie enjoyable is the fucking audio in that. It's got such cool. Yeah. So listen to that with legit audio. You'll enjoy certain things better. And maybe that's just the way my ears are, or some people's ears are. But yeah, regardless, if somebody's happy watching stuff on their phone like perpetually, that's fine. Yeah. I'm not going to be that dick that shits on that. Right?
No, I mean, dude, I was a kid happy to be watching. At one point in time, I was happy to be watching a, you know, DVD on a 20-inch Trinitron. It was badass.
Yeah, so I'm not like gonna be Scorsese or these like boomer types that are like, don't want watching my movie on a phone. No, I mean, dude, I like physical media and I like Spotify. I use both. Right, and I utilize my phone, and dude, fucking, will I watch shit on my phone if I'm on a plane? Fuck yeah, I will.
Yeah.
In an air, of course. Like, I'm not that big of an elitist. I think there's a place for all of it, but so I'm definitely in a place of coexisting. Like, it's, but yeah, like I love. Yeah, I get the simple pleasure, man. I want to sit down. I want to have a theater room. I want to watch something with great sound, and I want to get every part of the process, and I want to hear it.
Dude, I would love to get into you and me. I'm officially inviting you now. We have to do a home theater episode just for the hell of it.
Riverman should jump in too, man. I mean, like, oh, I wish you were buddies with my buddy Randall, dude. He's like he takes it to like another level. He spends, I mean, like, I don't know as much, dude. He spends thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on speakers and audio. He's insane. Like, he's got a problem. Like,
yeah,
but that's his thing. And I'm like, fuck, man. But you could literally go broke and lose your mortgage in anything in life. Like, if you really want to go super deep.
Yeah, dude. Like you know, I try to, you know, really, I'm more interested in display technology than I am audio, because I mean, audio has been good for a long time. I feel like display technology has made a huge leap in the last 10 years or so.
100%. Yeah, I definitely cap it somewhere. Like, this is good enough, right?
Yeah, but I've listened to podcasts where people did reviews literally of like $50,000 speakers. When I say speakers, I don't mean your whole whatever 10.1 Atmos. I'm talking about a like one speaker is 50 grand. So if you want a pair to listen to stereo, it's 100 grand. And I hear that shit, and dude, it doesn't matter if you work at the supermarket or if you could be a fucking athlete making $20 million a year. You can literally go broke on audio, period, point blank.
It obviously brings those types of people happiness, but like it's clearly a market that's so niche. But anybody outside of that niche market, I don't care how much you like audio. How could you really justify that speaker's worth 50 grand? Like, there has to be a point where it's like, whoa, this gap makes no sense. You know, I'm totally happy with it. But like I said, it has to be, because the people that make all that shit, they're boutique brands. They pretty much market only to niche people, right? So they don't sell that shit.
If you happen to be pulled over on your way to buy a $50 grand speaker, the cops would find your money and keep it, because they would assume it's drug money.
They would.
Yeah, and even with like visual, man, like, I don't jump on that new technology. I don't have an 8K TV, and I'm not gonna spend $8 grand on a TV. But like, you know, will I spend a couple of grand on like a really, really nice OLED that's maybe a year old? Fuck yeah, I will. It just depends. Like, it just depends on the technology or whatever. Some of it's way overpriced, because you do have to consider, dude, in a year your shit's gonna be cut in half on the value. So it's like, how bad do you is that extra $3 grand?
It's not a year? Yeah, it's not a financial investment. It's an investment in your happiness. I'll put it that way.
But you have to weigh that. It's like, you know, you got to weigh, how much do I need this? Is it worth that much dollar? Like, this makes me pretty happy. Like, the LG's got some sweet ass OLEDs that are, you know, they're more than you might pay $2,500 for like a good size and a nice OLED, but they're not like those crazy ass $8,000 fucking 90-inch 8K. Like, we can't even utilize this technology technically right now. Like, why the fuck would I want that?
Dude, there's so much we could talk about during a home theater episode. That means so much.
Well, we should not blow our load then.
Yeah, let's not. And you know, this has gone on, but you know, it's good to give people a holiday extravaganza. So, So, what do you got in the pipeline for Mac and Zach Save the World, Zach?
We put out our fucking Frosty the Stove. What's that movie called? Damn it, Jack Frost. Jack Frost, the horror movie. We put that out, and then Mac, he also wanted to do like Patreon only exclusive episodes. So this was his month. He picked that movie and the fucking other Jack Frost movie with our boy fucking Michael Keaton. So that's coming later.
I love that movie.
I
got to visit the set, dog. That's why that's why the movie will. I mean, they weren't filming at the time, but I walked through the set.
There's a reason this motherfucker's called the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time.
Charlie boy. We're doing our December exploitation like we always do. What have we put out so far, Zach? Santa. No, we've the Santa with Muscles movie with AIDS. We put out Santa Sleigh, and I know this coming week. Well, we're recording it tomorrow. We're gonna do. Are we doing Santa Claus or Ernest Say It's Christmas? Santa Claus.
I guess Santa Claus.
I think that's the better movie. But
you heard it here first, fans.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and so we're doing that. And you know, we have our Patreon shit going on as well. It's all one Patreon for like Mac and Zach Revival House. Speaking of that, Riverman resurrected Hobo with a podcast.
Really?
Yeah,
I like that show.
And he's this. He wants to get back into it, but he's this guy that's like always like trepidatious. I don't know what it is. And so he wanted to make this one just a Patreon exclusive. He's like, you know, and if people like it, maybe. So he's this guy that needs his arm twisted. So anybody that likes it, tell him, like, leave comments and we'll get him into it. But he's just dipping his toes back in. So he wanted
he's just putting the head in right now.
Yeah, just the tip. And we did an episode and we did it for Skinner, Ted Raimi. You ever seen that?
I know about the movie, but I actually never seen it.
Sleazy 1993 movie. That's you know, it's okay. It's not bad. It's okay, and it's as zany as you'd imagine, and it's got a weird fucking cast, and but it's got this weird 10-minute sequence in the middle of the flick that just makes the whole movie. That's just ridiculous, and you could not get away with it at all. But it's definitely worth a watch. But yeah, you guys should check that out. That's on there, and I told Riverman because he said, you know, I don't know what I want to do. And I was like, well, you know, Bat's kind of out of retirement, kind of. He's kind of doing shit again. Like, just, and he's like, you
he's
know,
got the tip in too.
Yeah, that. He's like, why don't you just? He's like, maybe I'll just get a revolving cast. And it's like, yeah, you can get Bat in sometimes. And if I need a pinch hit, I'll come in every now and again. Like, I'm not gonna do it every week. I'm sure Zach would, because Zach's done it. Like, you know, when he's brought it back, and I've done it when he brought it back. And I pitched your name. I was like, you and fucking Goat would be awesome. Because honestly, Hobo with a Shotgun is not unlike Movie Graveyard, where he likes to be super informed. You know, I think you would fit right in. So I was like, you need to hook up and just maybe send him a jingle, man. I think he would be great on the show. And you could easily keep it afloat with just so many, like a revolving door of people. And, you know.
That's what we do on this show.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems to work. Our traffic doesn't really drop off from episode to episode based on who the guest host is. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So, but for sure. Anyway, so that's up there right now for those that want to experiment and check out. And it was a fun conversation too. It was a real good time. So.
Donk. So yeah, so we recorded this last night of Hanukkah. I think it's technically still Hanukkah if you're on the West Coast like me, but by the time I edit this tonight and upload it, Hanukkah might be over. So if you're a Hanukkah guy or gal, I want to say Happy Hanukkah. We got the big C coming up, Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Kwanzaa, if you're celebrating the Kwanzaa, have a great one. I can't remember if it's Happy Kwanzaa or Merry Kwanzaa. I think it's Merry Kwanzaa. And there's one holiday I'm leaving out that I can't remember the name of it right now.
I bet they feel like shit. Can't remember.
Oh, sorry, guys. It's like Uquali or something. I can't remember what it is. But whatever you guys celebrate, because I know this has been a shit year. And, you know, we're doing a podcast here. Podcasting, you know, and I upped my podcasting game big time in 2020 to combat my, you know, this was supposed to be a big year for me personally, and shit didn't work out because of everything that happened. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the same boat. I hope all you guys still held on to your jobs and things aren't too desperate. But either way, even if you're just in a little bit of funk or just depressed a lot or whatever, I hope these shows, you know, give you guys a laugh, give you guys a chuckle, quick distraction. And, yeah, so Aaron, I want to thank you for, you know, coming by with your debut. You brought a lot to it, you know. Appreciate that as always. And Zach, of course, faithful old Zach. He's been here so much. Like he at first he had a cot in the corner. Then he had a, you know, I let him like cram onto the love seat, which was a little bit better. But like, I want to set up a spare bedroom in the back of the steeple here where the, you know, like he's going to be sleeping right where the shovels and everything is. So.
Well, you just throw one of the coffins there. I'll sleep in that.
Yeah, you can sleep. The coffins are nice. Like,
I'll sleep with my hands folded over my chest like I'm fucking Nosferatu and shit.
That'd be donk.
Hey, did we ever can I ask you on the air? Is that maybe it's putting you on the spot, but we're closing off our December with our Cinema Enema, and we're doing like a Thing retrospective where we're talking about the black and white, the John Carpenter, and the prequel. And we wanted to see if you wanted to come on because Will Lowry wanted to do it, and I think that's a perfect 4-way combo, and I think you'd be great on it if you wanted to join.
Yeah, I mentioned.
I'm gonna break some hearts there.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass because I don't have a copy of the original, or not the original. Yeah, the original, the black and white one, and also too, we're doing a Christmas movie a day here, so it's if it was just one movie, I would cram it in, but to rewatch 3.
That's cool because, like, the original movie I was gonna pick for the Christmas season was Eyes Wide Shut, and I know you were a fan of that movie.
Oh, that's donk. I'll be all over that.
Yeah, the next week is my choice. Maybe you could join for that one, baby.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. I'll get that watched in, and it is a Christmas movie. Yeah, so unfortunately, I have to say no to The Things. But
yeah, I figured that's 3 movies, kind of short notice. I figured it might be asking too much. It's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll get Eyes Wide Shut in. If you guys were doing it for January, like once the Christmas movie.
So where's the
binging was
Eyes
over-
Wide Shut coming in, Zach? I thought The Thing was the next Cinema Enema. That was your choice. Am I backwards? Where's Eyes Wide Shut coming in?
The next time I get next.
But isn't it my turn
February?
after Thing?
That'll be February.
Oh, so you're talking about in a couple of months? Yeah, I got you. There you go. Well, rock on. Well, it all works.
No, but there is one holiday left after all those holidays I already mentioned. I'll just leave it at that, right, Zach?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Festivus?
So. Festivus, is that what you said?
I don't know. What is it? Yeah, Festivus.
The very last holiday of the year. There's one more holiday.
New Year's, duh.
Yeah.
It's the first holiday of the year.
Yeah. Wink, wink.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, yeah. So, everybody, obviously, Aaron, Zach, thank you. But also thank you to the listeners for hanging in there as we did all of these episodes this year. Had a lot of fun. Probably could have done even more, but, we got to sleep sometime. We got to, whatever. You got to eat. You got to jerk off. So, everybody, have a great holiday season. Guys, thanks. And once again, we'll catch you next time in the movie graveyard.
Donk.
Cool. Yeah.
That was
had
a
to
really
say,
festive dunk.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.